CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Hello, good morning. It is 6 o'clock on Monday, July 27th. Cloudy, chance of showers, and some fog this morning. We'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. Right now, though, good morning. Let's get into the news with Lisa Best.
Thank you, Ryan, and good morning and welcome back. Victoria has become a popular destination for many, including those fleeing the law. CFAX 1070's Koch Cotton has the story.
Victoria residents live among 80 fugitives wanted on warrants, and police say they can't get rid of them due to policy shortfalls. Some 31 of those meet the criteria to be potentially returned under the BC Fugitive Return Programme run by the RCMP. Some of these have serious charges like sexual assault or assaulting a police officer, but to date, 0 have been returned. There is no equivalent national level programme. Instead, individual fugitive return needs to be initiated by contacting Crown Council offices in each province. Deputy Chief Jamie McRae told the police board that the department has not had a ton of success, citing agencies declining to accept returned fugitives among other challenges. Saanich Police reported facing similar obstacles. City Council will recommend this week that governments cooperate to bring forward any legislation, policy and budgetary changes needed to expand the Fugitive Return Programme and to better coordinate successful returns within and between provinces. Koch Cotton, CFAX 1070 News.
To the fire situation in this province, BC Wildfire Update has 139 wildfires burning in BC as we end the weekend. 56 are considered out of control. There's been 20 new starts in the last 24 hours. The 4 new fires on Vancouver Island, none of which are new in the last day, are either being held or under control. 2 wildfires threatening the village of Clinton and the surrounding area have merged now to span nearly 670 square kilometres through the South Caribou region. An update from the BC Wildfire Service says the Pear Lake and 59 Creek blazes combined late Saturday and continued to spread. The fire's projected growth has prompted the Thompson-Nicola Regional District to post a notice about a planned evacuation order for the community of 70 Mile House and surrounding area, about 30 miles north. Kilometers, that is, north of Clinton. The message on the district's Facebook page says residents should be ready to leave by 10 this morning local time. France's interior minister says a monster blaze has stopped growing, the one that forced 220,000 people out of their homes in the country's southwest, but cautioned is yet to be beaten. French President Emmanuel Macron held a crisis meeting today to address uncontrolled fires that have forced thousands of people to flee their homes. In the Gironde region, the flames have burned an area 4 times the size of Paris. Authorities have evacuated 220,000 people and banned holiday camps. And in neighboring Spain, wildfires around Madrid and Valencia have led to evacuations. The fires, that is, fueled by repeated heat waves, are sparking calls for stronger climate action. South of us, a food festival in the heart of Seattle ended in tragedy late last night. Police say a shootout between 2 suspects killed 3 bystanders and injured 4 others, including a toddler.
Police say just after 6 p.m., fire crews responded to reports of a shooting during the Bite of Seattle Food Festival at Seattle Center. Vendors set up and families enjoying the evening when gunfire sent crowds running for cover.
I thought it was fireworks.
People sheltering inside of buildings around Seattle Center.
We were trying to run away, once we heard the shots. Everybody kind of just started panicking.
First responders rushing to the festival, attempting to revive 2 of the people who were shot.
1 suspect is now in custody. Police say they're searching for a second shooter. Out east, the Gordie Howe International Bridge is opening over troubled political waters. Motorists are hoping to use it today after months of controversy over the financial aspects of who's paying what in the project.
In a social media post last February, President Donald Trump insisted the U.S. would have to be compensated before he would allow the bridge to open. He falsely claimed the $6.4 billion structure connecting Windsor, Ontario, and Detroit was built with virtually no American content. Canada subsequently agreed to make some adjustments concerning the sharing of revenues. Canada then held a ceremony last week to help mark the opening of the bridge, but a joint celebration with the U.S. was canceled over Washington's recent threat of new tariffs on Canadian goods. Lisa Laporte, The Canadian Press.
And the Prime Minister has announced several by-elections for the next month. Constituents in 3 electoral districts, Ontario, Quebec, and here in BC, will head to the polls on August 31st.
The Beaches East York seat was vacated by Nate Erskine-Smith, who intended to run for leader of the Ontario Liberal Party, but lost a provincial by-election nomination race. Conservative MP Richard Martel resigned from the Chicoutimi-Le seat after being appointed to the Senate of Canada. The North Vancouver Capilano seat was vacated by former Liberal MP Jonathan Wilkinson, who became Canada's ambassador to the European Union.
Liberal Party confirming a nominee for the BC riding. It's Braden Cayley. That's your news to 6:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. We're asking, since there seems to be a shortage right now, as there does historically every summer, we're asking, do you donate blood? 88% say no. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Sebastian News Time, 6:07.
Hey, good morning, Lisa.
Yeah, right? You're back.
I'm here.
Yay.
Feels good to be back.
Yeah.
Got to remember what all these buttons do. It's one of those moments.
I'll have to share where you went, too.
Yeah,
That's
I will.
coming up. Yeah.
Actually, I would love to tell you where I went.
Okay.
I spent 2 weeks away in Europe, and exactly what was I doing? Well, let's talk about that in just a second.
Okay.
Okay, but first let's get to sports. It's good to actually catch up on all the sports that are going on as well, because lots happening locally. We had the Victoria Shamrocks with a 15-3 win over the Burnaby Lakers last night. Next game Thursday against New Westminster. And actually, we're going to be talking to the Shamrocks later in the show. So stand by for that. For Pacific FC, they were playing away in the nation's capital, and they fell just short in a tight 3-2 battle against Atletico Ottawa. Second half goals from Alejandro Diaz and Marco Bustos helped, but Ottawa did win it with a 90+6 stoppage time game winner. Victoria Harbour Cats losing 7-3 to the Kamloops North Paws as well. To round out the local scene in Major League Baseball, Max Scherzer will celebrate his 42nd birthday today on the mound as he starts for the Blue Jays when they open for a 3-game series against the host Washington Nationals. Now, Scherzer, apart from having his birthday, hasn't played a Major League game since June 10th because he had a thumb injury. The Jays lost 2 of 3 weekend games at Fenway Park against the Boston Red Sox. Seattle Mariners with a 6-4 win over the Texas Rangers yesterday. Mariners have one final game left in that current series, playing the Rangers again today. And I'll mention this because I actually went and saw some of this while I was away. The Tour de France has come to an end yesterday, and Tadej Pogacar has confirmed his status as one of cycling's all-time greats after winning a record-equaling 5th Tour de France title. This took place yesterday at the final stage in Paris. Daring mountain attacks, multiple stage wins, and an ice-cool temperament helped the 27-year-old Slovenian seal the victory. That's your CFAX Sports to 6:09. CFAX 1070 traffic. What is happening out there? Well, right now it's early days. Not much happening as far as commute volumes or crashes or accidents. There's some fog, though, around. In fact, if you're watching us on CTV Vancouver Island or the stream, the harbor cam is just sort of a cloud right now. It's just kind of funny. You're looking at a white screen, at least a few moments ago. That's sort of the situation for parts of the Greater Victoria area. Certainly in the harbor, the foghorns have been going all night. Yeah, a little foggy start to the day there. So let's turn that into weather, because we do have that fog this morning. We've got a chance of showers as well, but hopefully that'll start to clear up a little as the day goes on. Winds blowing light off the Wandafuka Strait by this afternoon, and highs to hit about 20 degrees, a little cooler by the water. Looking ahead into the longer range forecast tonight, a few clouds, still a chance of showers or drizzle, lows to 14. Tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud. Once we get through a chance of showers or drizzle in the morning and early afternoon, and then highs of 20. For the rest of the week, it starts to clear out on Wednesday. We're kind of pivoting Wednesday. Cloudy still, but some of the drizzle and shower activity we've been seeing will start to come to an end, and then we turn into some sunshine by Thursday, Friday, and maybe into the weekend ahead of us. So that's what's going on in the weather forecast right now. In Vic West, I'm seeing a temperature of 15 degrees. Opening bells for North American stock markets will open a little later this hour. So while we await those first results, let's take a peek back at how last week closed. Here's Aaron Sousa.
Canada's main stock index eked out gains on Friday as oil prices slipped for the first time in a week. Toronto's S&P TSX rose 176 to 35,369. In New York, the Dow climbed 235 points. The Nasdaq, however, fell by 161. In Tokyo this morning, the Nikkei was up by 320. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong gained 243. Our dollar is trading at 70 and 90 cents U.S. The Gordie Howe Bridge linking Windsor and Detroit is set to open to traffic today. This after months of tension between the U.S. and Canada. The bridge is expected to serve as a critical route for trade, jobs, and tourism. Canadians prescribed the drug Rexulti have until August 27th to file claims in a class action lawsuit. They say the drug may have caused overcompulsive behaviors in some. Those who qualify could receive up to $102,000. And oil prices are starting to slip. The current price for a barrel of Brent crude oil is about $92 U.S. From the Canadian Press Business Desk, I'm Aaron Sousa.
And the CFAX 1070 Morning Show is brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Until August 5th, get 600 Scene Plus points when you buy any participating cheeses and meats to build your own summer snacking bundle.
Let's get started.
Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Oh, it's so good to be back. Great to be back here on the microphone talking to you, Lisa, and to you listening out there. Lisa, good morning. Great to be here.
Good morning and welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've gone far.
I was in Europe for the last 2 weeks.
Very nice.
I just got back, so I'm feeling a little bewildered. In fact, the first thing I did, I walked in, before I even got coffee, I came up to you and I was like, so what was going on? What have I missed? Because I'm about to go on the radio and talk about stuff, but I literally got off a plane, not that long ago, and I'm just trying to catch up
unpack things.
on what's been going on.
Well, because you were following everything that was happening in Europe, understandably.
Not really, no.
Well, you were, because we were following the fires here that were developing.
Yeah. You
were watching the fires that were developing there.
Yeah, actually, it was interesting because I came from Victoria and Canada, where wildfire news was raging, and then I got into France and Switzerland and Italy. I was in those countries, and yeah, turning on any TV station, that was always the top story was the fires there. They were also going through wildfires, particularly in France and Spain, and sort of near the border of those two countries. Top story every night. If you flipped on a TV in a language I didn't understand, but you could certainly see all the pictures of all of that.
What was happening? Yeah, it's pretty terrifying, the amount of people, like 220,000 people in France alone being forced out of their homes due to the flames. So we feel for them. And, of course, we have firefighters from all over coming here to help us battle fires, too. So we'll see what happens. There's still a lot of summer to go.
Yeah.
And we've had rain locally.
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask about that because it seems like it's been wet for the last few days at least, and it seems like the wildfires that were an issue here on the island are starting to subside, at least for the moment, with this wet weather. And for instance, one right near the Malahat near Shawnigan Lake, right? I guess that was the closest one to us.
Yeah, we actually had one in Goldstream Park, and then we had one sort of just southeast of Shawnigan Lake. And both, like all four fires right now, if you check the BC dashboard for BC wildfires, they're all either under control or being held. So between Mother Nature and crews making quick work of them, we've done quite well here on the island. Of course, the mainland is a different thing. And, there's people's lives being threatened, people being told they have 30 minutes notice possibly to leave. That's the alert that they're under. So, pretty tense situation on the mainland for people wondering if they have to leave their homes and whether they're locking the door for the last time.
Yeah, that's been escalating. And at least the fire smoke seems like it's shifted away from Victoria and the island for now.
Yeah, according to firesmoke.ca, which is a great resource for all of us to tap into, we were having some smoke issues last week. A lot of people were asking about breathing. Look, I can feel it in my lungs. And it wasn't super heavy, but it was enough to really make a noticeable difference. We could see it across, we couldn't see across the Juan de Fuca Strait. It was quite hazy, made for some pretty sunsets. But beyond that, it's, we understand now it's quite a dangerous smoke to be breathing. But right now, looking at the map, the smoke is moving away from it. It's moving more sort of northeast, and certainly not anywhere in the area of Vancouver, Seattle, and of course here on the Vancouver Island, there's nothing. As of today and to tomorrow, I'm just watching the timeline tick to tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We've got nothing coming in. So kind of good news. It's all moving east across the prairies and into U.S. states like Montana and whatnot. So as you know, there was always chatter from the south of the border of us being tariffed heavily because of the wildfire smoke that's coming across.
That's the story I actually did catch all the way from Europe.
Yeah.
I was aware of.
I'm sure Europe would have picked up on that one.
They were, for sure. But so let's keep talking about it. And actually got a text here at 71010. Says, welcome back.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for texting. Did you travel by train? What was your favorite meal? Oh boy, I got so many questions. I want to live vicariously through your trip. Okay, I'll talk to you more about what I did. I did something very weird and unique. I didn't just go to Europe. I actually did a very strange hiking trip that took me through 3 countries.
Well, we want to hear about it.
Which I'll tell you about in just a moment.
Okay.
But first, here's Lisa Best.
BC Wildfire Service says personnel from Yukon Protective Services, Alberta Wildfire, and Mexico are set to arrive in the coming days to aid the fight against more than 140 fires blazing throughout this province. That includes the Brunswick complex of wildfires in the Fraser Canyon, which together span more than 355 square kilometers. The community of Boston Bar and surrounding area remains subject to evacuation orders. The fires prompting officials to shut off the local water supply last week to help preserve the supply for fighting the flames. But the Fraser Valley Regional District says police are now investigating possible vandalism on the system, where a valve was reopened incorrectly. There's potential to cause serious damage before staff were actually able to respond. So that's a separate investigation underway. In West Vancouver, police say a man died while scuba diving in local waters at a park. A statement from police say officers responded to a report of a diver in distress at White Cliff Park near the Horseshoe Bay neighborhood just around 10:45 Sunday morning. It says fellow divers, firefighters, and air ambulance paramedics tried to save the man. Unfortunately, he was declared dead at the scene. Police say the man was in his mid-60s. There was no early indications of suspicious circumstances surrounding his death, but the BC Coroner Service is investigating. We also locally had a medical incident that caused a single-vehicle car crash on Cordova Bay Road around Mount Doug, the ring road around Mount Doug. That was on Saturday morning. That closed that route for quite a while. Police had the route closed for the investigation. Apparently, the car was hanging off the edge of that cliff into towards the bushes, so a tight spot through there, and that person was taken to hospital. No word on the extent of the damages and if that medical incident they're going to be recovering, but we'll keep you posted. And in 1984, the Skynet of Terminator films from Canadian director James Cameron were all science fiction. Of course, we're looking at it differently now. It's more realistic this year after the OpenAI agent broke into the test corral this month, traveled the internet, and hacked into Hugging Face, which is another company, to solve a problem. The company said the cyber breach was unprecedented, heightening fears of AI acting on its own, outside of human control. Experts say it's a cautionary tale, but popular culture influences how people think. Yes, it does. That is your news to 6:19.
Thanks, Lisa. Traffic and weather coming up next. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather, starting with BC Ferries, where the 7 o'clock sailing from Swartz Bay to Swazen is next. Lots of room left. No sailing waits to report. Nothing really on the roads. I will say there's heavy fog for some parts of coastal Greater Victoria. I know certainly Victoria Harbour, Esquimalt Harbour, those areas are seeing it. So watch out for visibility issues depending on where you're going. And in the weather forecast, speaking of that fog, it will clear up a little later this morning. We do have a chance of showers with us and a bit of breeze off the Wanda Fuca Strait, but nothing too crazy. Highs of 20, a little cooler by the water. Tonight, still a chance of showers, a little bit of drizzle coming back into the forecast potentially. Lows to 14. Tomorrow, whatever drizzle or rain does happen, it's just a chance of it kind of through the morning and into the early afternoon. But then it clears up. We get into a mix of sun and cloud. Still a bit cloudy on Wednesday, but the sun emerging again Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with temperatures into the low 20s by the time we get to the back half of the week. Right now for Victoria, the temperature in Oak Bay is 13 degrees. At Shawnigan Lake, it is 14.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
And it's great to be back. I'd love to tell you where I've been.
We want to hear all about it.
Well, and I'm glad some texters are asking as well because I'm very... It's an interesting thing I did. So we went to Europe.
Yes, you and your wife.
But, typically you go to Europe, you might visit a couple of the big cities, you take a train around.
Touring,
all that stuff. Well, my wife and I just had our 20th wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, it fell during the trip.
Okay.
And for such a big number, we wanted to do something big. And my wife is a huge hiker.
Okay.
She loves, putting on the backpack and going out into the wilderness for a couple of days along a trail or something. And one of her bucket list hikes happened to be in Europe. So we did that. We spent 11 days hiking around a mountain. The mountain is called Mont Blanc.
Oh, you did Mont Blanc.
You know Mont Blanc? Yeah,
yes.
It's fairly famous. It's I think it's the biggest peak in the Alps. You don't go up it.
You go around.
You go around it.
Interesting.
And it straddles 3 countries. It's between France, Italy, and Switzerland. So you end up walking through all of those countries.
Oh, did you have to bring your passport to go through those countries when you're
so
walking?
Funny. We brought our passport to get into Europe to begin with, but when you would cross a border, usually it was on a mountain pass somewhere 2,500 meters above sea level with nothing but you and some goats and cows.
Right.
There's the border would be like a little rock that said, this side France, this side Switzerland. There was no passport control, no anything. It was bizarre.
Wow.
And that was 3 times. We just up on a mountain pass crossing over. And
you got photos of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've got some photos.
Oh, cool.
But no, it was really interesting. We started in a town called Chamonix.
Okay.
And which I guess is a famous town for outdoor activity. But some folks have heard of it. I actually had never really been or knew much about this part of the world.
What was the population of that town?
It was like a Whistler. Imagine a Whistler, like
That's
that
good to know.
scale of place.
Okay.
And also that kind of place where it's just outdoor activities. It's skiing in the winter. It's this kind of stuff in the summer.
Nice.
And there's these tour companies that'll book it all for you. So you get these, sometimes they're called huts, these little mountainside, they look like they used to be cow barns and now they've been converted into tourism operations. Or sometimes you'd stay in hotels.
Okay.
So you get accommodation along the way if you choose to pay for it. And they'll taxi your bags ahead of you. So
wait. If you choose to pay for it, so where would you sleep if you didn't?
You could camp.
Okay.
You could
Oh,
bring
you
a tent.
could, eh?
Yeah, you could camp in the mountains. We chose, being our anniversary, to spend a little more money and have hotels.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd stay at a hotel every night after you hiked for 8 hours up a mountain and down. And then your big bags would get taxied ahead of you and be waiting for you at the next hotel. And it was such a cool thing. And
That's quite luxurious.
yeah, exactly. And
Didn't have to carry anything.
didn't have to carry anything but your kind of day pack. And being Europe, there was always, civilization around. You were never out in the wilderness. Even if you were out on the top of a mountain, there'd still be a little, place that would sell you a pint.
Well, how civilized. Well, that's interesting because, around here, especially on Vancouver Island, when you go into the wooded area, you can really go away. And you can actually find places on Vancouver Island where you don't have to see anyone on the weekend. So it wasn't like that.
Yeah, packed with people and just stuff. I mean, you'd still be out in the middle of nowhere, but there would be a cash-only, bar. They would all be supplied by helicopters. You see these helicopters going around dropping off the supplies for these mountain huts that you could stop in at.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was not easy. One of the biggest day we did, we had to climb 1,300 meters up and then down again. For reference, Mount Washington is 1,500 meters above sea level. So we had to do...
So you still doing a lot of climbing, even though you're going around.
Yeah, because the mountains surrounding Mont Blanc were also big. So there was one day where we basically walked up Mount Washington and then down again. So it was.
So do you feel fitter coming out of it after 2 weeks of doing that?
Yes, and actually it was the most remarkable thing was this feeling of accomplishment you got. You would look ahead at this insane thing. You'd be looking at the mountain you had to walk up,
right?
And you'd be seeing this little trail of, it looked like ants, but it was just the people all marching up.
So you weren't alone in this sojourn.
Oh no, there was people everywhere.
Wow.
But then you'd think this is impossible. How am I going to do this? And then you just one foot in front of the other, and you'd get to the top of this incredible mountain pass. You feel like you're on top of the world, looking down across multiple countries and fields of cows and things below you, and the sense of accomplishment was remarkable. More so than the fitness gain, it was that sort of just sense of, wow, look what I just did.
And so I'm getting the impression that you were not expecting that to be one of the things you would experience.
Yeah, it was a surprise, just sort of that sense of, and then also sometimes the mountain pass would be the border, and that you'd get the sense of like, I didn't just climb a mountain, I'm now walking across different countries. It was really cool.
That's so interesting. It's interesting that she chose that, and that was a bucket. Like everybody has something that, geez, I want to do that one day. But good for you for taking it on. And so all that rich, fine food and beer that you had, and you got to walk it off.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know. I might have gained some fitness, but I didn't necessarily gain weight as you were just eating and drinking constantly, like meats and cheeses and all of what, baguettes everywhere. It was wonderful.
How many steps did you do in a day?
About 30,000.
What?
30,000 steps a day was our average.
I hope you took an extra pair of shoes with you.
Yeah, we'd have to change into something afterwards because you'd be just done with your hiking shoes afterwards. Like, I don't want to see those until tomorrow. Oh man!
Wow, that is so impressive. So coming out of it, would you do that again? Would you
I would do a similar one. I think that one's been crossed off the list.
Yeah.
But if anybody is interested in hiking, they have these all over Europe. And they're really interesting, and they're really well organized, at least the one I did. It's really great being able to have your stuff sent ahead of you. I liked it. I have a texter here saying Tour de Mont Blanc, which is what it's called, the Tour de Mont Blanc, is high on my bucket list. Super cool that you did that. Well, I can certainly recommend it. It's wonderful food. It's wonderful scenery. The whole place is really built around this. It's one of the big tourism things that this region has. So it was neat to participate.
Did you, just one more question, did you train for this at all?
Yes. Yeah, we did spend a few months. I mean, not that we have that level of mountain around Victoria, but we do have lots of great hills and hiking. So we spent a good few months doing all of the highest peaks of Greater Victoria. We could, walk up Mount Doug a couple of times, that kind of thing.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's really impressive, Ryan. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
You look fitter.
Oh, thank you.
Sometimes you don't realize it, but you don't look like you've gained any weight. That's for sure. So good for you. What a bucket list.
Texter says.
So interesting.
Texter says, welcome back, Ryan. Did you meet any interesting people, and what was their reaction to a Canadian in their midst? From Chris. I would love to answer that question, but let's get to the news.
All right.
I'm going to pick up on that after the news, if that's okay. So, Chris, stand by. We'll get to it, but first, Lisa's got your top stories. I got your traffic, weather, and sports all next.
Jade's Pet Rescue on CFAX 1070.
Hey, it's Jade, and I love fur babies. Who's a good doggy? Who's a good doggy? Which is why we're bringing you Jade's Pet Rescue. Whether your dwelling lacks a doggo or your crib needs a kitty, we're teaming up with the BCSPCA to play matchmaker. Let's find our new four-legged friend some forever homes. Keep an eye on our socials for the next pet up for adoption.
Jade's Pet Rescue is powered by Galaxy Motors. More info at CFAX1070.com. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 6:32 on this Monday, July the 7th. A little drizzly, and we've got some fog in the forecast right now, but it'll clear up a little bit as the day goes on. Full forecast to come. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning. Doubt growing over the bridge over turbulent political waters out east. The new Gordie Howe Bridge is opening today, following a ceremony attended only by Canadian officials on Friday. We uninvited the U.S.
It's huge, not just as a structure, it's huge economically as well.
Again, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed that the bridge actually opens, that is. This bridge's opening has been delayed several times. A scheduled ceremony last month was called off at the 11th hour by the Trump administration. The president wanted a new deal.
Will this actually transpire? That is a big issue.
I don't know how much influence our president will have on the opening, but I know that the American people are anxious for that to happen.
The Gordie Howe Bridge is scheduled to open around 9 our time. We'll keep you posted. BC Wildfire Update has 139 fires burning actively in this province, 56 of those considered out of control. 20 new starts in the last 24 hours as the province continues to dry out. Summer heat. 4 fires that are burning on Vancouver Island are not new, and they're either being held or under control, including the one that was in Goldstream and the one up island near Shawnigan Lake. So this is good news on our fire front locally. But those 2 wildfires threatening the village of Clinton and surrounding area have now merged to span nearly 670 kilometres in the South Caribou region. An update from BC Wildfire Service says the Pear Lake and 59 Creek fires combined late Saturday and continued to spread. The fire's projected growth has prompted the district to put a notice out about a planned evacuation order for the community of 70 Mile House and surrounding area, which is about 30 kilometres north of Clinton. A deadline is fast approaching for Canadians to claim a portion of their $4.75 million class action lawsuit over a drug called Rexulti. It's an antipsychotic medication used to treat schizophrenia and depression.
Canadians have until August 27th to file their claim. Quebec Superior Court approved the settlement in November, a year after authorizing the national class action against Otsuka Canada Pharmaceutical Inc. and Lundbeck Canada Inc. The class action covers Canadians who were prescribed Rexulti since early 2017 and later developed compulsive behaviors or impulse control disorders, such as gambling, shopping, or binge eating. Lawyers representing affected patients and families have said the deal is a compromise with no admission of liability. Applicants could receive anywhere from roughly $6,500 for mild cases to more than $102,000 in more severe ones. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
A food festival in the heart of Seattle has ended in a deadly shooting last night.
Police overnight revealing it all started with 2 men shooting at each other. The victims caught in the crossfire. 3 people were killed. 4 others were injured, including a 2-year-old boy shot in the arm. 1 suspect is in custody, but overnight this second shooter was on the run.
Police still looking for that second shooter. And a stunning, scary scene in Seattle last week. 2 people seen parachuting off the iconic Space Needle.
Queen sector hazard at the Space Needle.
The incident unfolding just before 9 p.m. on Friday.
2 people jumped off the Space Needle observation deck.
Police say 2 men illegally climbed a glass wall on the observation deck of Seattle's iconic Space Needle and jumped off before deploying parachutes. Onlookers stunned. Video showing one man standing on the ledge doing a backflip and then leaping from the 605-foot structure. One parachute seen descending to the ground before vanishing from camera view.
They've yet to catch them as well. And that is your news to 6:36. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. There's a shortage, it always is historically this time of year, for blood. We're asking, do you donate blood? Over 80% say no. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time, 6:37.
Thank you, Lisa. Foggy start to the day for parts of Greater Victoria. 14 degrees right now. We'll get you a full forecast in a moment. Right now, over to the sports. Lots going on locally. The Victoria Shamrocks in action last night. 15-3 drubbing of the Burnaby Lakers. Next game Thursday for the Shamrocks. That'll be against New Westminster. And we're going to talk to the Shamrocks at the end of the show. So if you're in, stick around. We'll be talking about how the season's going. For soccer, Pacific FC playing in the nation's capital, and they fell just short in a tight 3-2 battle against Atletico Ottawa. Second half goals from Alejandro Diaz and Marco Bustos helped the Tridents, but Ottawa won it in the end with a 90+6 stoppage time game winner. So that's what's happening with Pacific FC. And in the baseball, Victoria Harbour Cats lose 7-3. Flip those numbers around. Victoria Harbour Cats lose 7-3 to the Kamloops North Paws. Now to the Blue Jays, where Max Scherzer will be celebrating his 42nd birthday today on the mound for the Jays, as he's the starting pitcher when they open up a 3-game series against host Washington Nationals. He hasn't actually played a Major League game since June 10th because he had a thumb injury. The Jays lost 2 of 3 weekend games at Fenway Park against the Boston Red Sox. Seattle Mariners winning 6-4 against the Texas Rangers yesterday. The Mariners have one last game now in that current series, playing again against Texas today. And that is your CFAX 1070 Sports to 6:39. Hey, the morning show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. Designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather out there on the roads. So we're seeing fairly light volume delays out of the West Shore at this time into parts of downtown Victoria and surrounding area. If you see otherwise, do text me at 71010. Got a traffic tip? We'd love to hear it. For BC Ferries, no sailing wait. 7 o'clock sailing is next, and there's still room left on that one. For the weather forecast, well, depending on where you are, it's a bit foggy this morning. I know where I've been living, listening to the foghorns all night. So there's that. And our harbor cam shot from downtown Victoria right now is showing just a cloud in front of it. So I think that's another example of the fog that is out there. We are expecting this to clear up as the day goes on. Small chance of showers coming with that fog for these early morning hours today. Highs of 20, a little cooler by the water as the day goes on. Tomorrow, it's going to be a chance of showers, which will kind of come in overnight and then last through the morning and maybe into the early afternoon tomorrow. But then it clears into a mix of sun and cloud for the second half of tomorrow. Still cloudy on Wednesday. Thursday, the day the sun really comes out. At least right now, we're forecasting Thursday, Friday, and the weekend to get sunnier. Temperatures into the low 20s. And right now, the temperatures around the region are a little mixed, but pretty close to about 14 degrees. That's what we're seeing in Langford right now. It's 12 degrees, though, at the University of Victoria. On the markets, well, let's see how things closed off last week as we get ready for the first results of today with North American stock markets just opening now. S&P TSX up 176 at the end of last week to 35,369. The Dow was up 235 to end the week 51,947. Oil prices have been sinking nearly 7%, and World shares have been gaining as Chinese chipmaker CXMT are soaring in a Shanghai debut. So that's what's been happening around the world and overseas trading. And for the Canadian dollar, 70.9 cents US, down a little bit at the close on Friday.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
So good to be back. Great to be talking to you today here on CFAX. And we were just before all the news and stuff, Lisa, just mentioning that the reason I was away for 2 weeks is my wife and I celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary by doing a crazy hike in Europe. It's called the Tour de Mont Blanc. You circle this mountain, which is right in the Alps between France, Switzerland, and Italy.
Beautiful mountain.
And this texter said, "Welcome back, Ryan. Did you meet any interesting people? What was their reaction to a Canadian in their midst?" I'll just start by saying I love travel for meeting all of these people from different parts of the world. And this is a thing that draws people from all over the world. So we met, Canadians, Americans, Brits, people from France, Switzerland, and Italy for sure, and all over Europe were doing this. Ton of people from Asia, China and different countries. I met a lot of folks from all over the place. And it's just cool to get everybody together in a place like that and just realize that everybody's awesome, if that makes any sense. Like there was no, nothing. When we ask about reaction to a Canadian in their midst, everybody is just very positive. My favorite interaction, though, Lisa, I got to tell you this.
Okay.
So it's second night in.
Yeah.
Only the second night. And the particular place we were staying offered dinner. So dinner was provided. So everybody's sitting in a big, long table or several big, long tables, and we're sat with some different people.
Okay. Nice.
And we start to meet our neighbors. And beside us on one side, 2 women from England. We talked to them about, what brought you here? Why are you doing this?
Right.
And then we turn to the ladies to the other side of us. Where are you from? Oh, Canada. Oh, so are we. Where in Canada? Oh, Vancouver Island. Oh, where in Vancouver Island? Oh, Esquimalt. So the people we meet, second day in, were literally 5 minutes from my house.
Do you not find that some kind of organic attraction that happens? Because I find that it's different, but I find that with motorcyclists. You could sit beside someone in a 3-piece suit on a plane and go, "So, do you ride?" "Yes, I do, in fact. And I have this kind of bike." And it's the same kind of weird thing. It's like you go halfway around the world and you run into someone from your neighborhood.
Yeah.
The small world of it all.
I kind of love that.
So did they live on your street?
Not my street, luckily, but within the neighborhood, and there were a couple of the other ladies lived in Langford.
They know some of your people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
that was just such a funny story.
So did you start talking about local politics and local news while you were over in Switzerland? Then?
No, we'd all share stories of the trip because one of the cool things about this hike, you spend 11 days hiking around this mountain, and the people who set out on the same day as you end up just encountering over and over again.
Of course.
So a lot of the time you just share stories about what happened. One of the big things that happened, which became the discussion the entire time, every time you meet somebody, you'd get one of those "where were you when" moments. This storm happened. For us, it was when we were on the top of one of the mountains. All of a sudden, this thunderstorm rolled in with howling winds, hail that was blowing sideways, lightning crashing all around. The temperature felt like it dropped about 10 degrees in a minute.
And you were hiking at this point?
We're on the top of a mountain summit.
Oh, wow.
So we ran into this little tiny wooden shelter that was built on top of the mountain. And many other people were there as well, but some people got caught out in it. And so then for the whole rest of the trip, that was the thing. Where were you when the storm happened? So
wow,
that was one of the big topics of conversation.
So you had stormy weather as well.
We did. Actually, I understand it was funny because we dealt with this crazy thunderstorm on top of a mountain in Europe, and I was hearing from back home that you guys had a big thunderstorm. What happened with our thunderstorm here?
On Thursday. Well, we weren't expecting lightning and thunder like that. So, yeah, we had quite a bit in Fairfield. It was rattling the windows. And it was black skies. And it was funny because I was driving, I was on the roads at the time, and I was texting in to say, remind people to turn on your lights because it got quite dark very fast. And, most cars are black, silver, some kind of neutral color now, and you just don't see as well. And pedestrians walking around. It was 4:30 in the afternoon on Thursday, and the heavens just opened up. So we got a lot of thunder and lightning, and then we got rain. So, which has really helped the wildfire situation locally. You notice things are pretty green where normally, historically, things have really dried out here. Mid-July, going into late July, it's tinder dry here. And at least with the amount of rain we've had, it's actually sort of made a dent in it's not to say there's not a fire risk, but it certainly kept things green, and it kept things interesting this last Thursday because we did have lightning hits. But currently the fire situation on the island is, fingers crossed, touch wood, very, very good.
Well, let's find out what else is happening. Here's the news. Take it away, Lisa.
Thanks. I'll take you out east first. Toronto police investigating a shooting that took place near the U.S. consulate early this morning. Officials say they heard a gun discharge, found evidence of it outside the consulate building early morning. In March, the U.S. consulate was also targeted in a shooting. 2 suspects allegedly firing multiple shots at the building before driving away in a stolen car. In this latest shooting, police say a white sedan was seen fleeing the area. Stateside, a federal appeals court has upheld a ruling that halted the president's executive order to create a federal list of eligible voters and limit delivery of mail ballots only to the people on that list. The ruling over the weekend rejected the Trump administration's efforts to move forward with the mail-in voting restrictions in 23 U.S. states ahead of November's midterm elections. Also, the Trump administration has acknowledged in court documents that it canceled $7.6 billion in grants for hundreds of clean energy projects based solely on the political identity of the grant recipient state. In this case, 16 states that voted for Democrat Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential election. And you may notice a lot of Canadian geese around town. There were certainly lots in Esquimalt Lagoon yesterday, and they're not flying much right now. The Royal Saskatchewan Museum says the birds have started their molting season, which makes them lose their feathers and prevents them from flying. The curator of vertebrate zoology at the museum, Ryan Fisher, says this will last until about late August. Fisher says the geese grow them back just in time for migration. But in the meantime, Canadians are being advised to stay away from flocks because they can be particularly aggressive this time of year, where they're in molting and they've got babies under wing. That's your news to 6:49.
Thank you, Lisa. So I'm catching up on all the things that have been happening, and I understand there's been some trade stuff between the U.S. and Canada flaring up again. The latest round of trade troubles came just ahead of the Premier's meeting last week, and now we've learned local BC businesses may be able to access a federal emergency fund worth $1.5 billion. And meanwhile, the political discourse here in the province seems fixated on the question of if U.S. liquor should be on BC shelves. That seems to be one of the irritants mentioned in this latest spat. So here to catch us up on all of that, we are going to be joined by BC's Minister responsible for jobs and the economy, Ravi Kahlon. He's joining us in just a moment after traffic and weather.
Where the noise stops and the conversation begins.
Hey, it's Friday. Welcome to the Graham Richardson Show.
The stories that shaped your week aren't just headlines. They are the moments we live through and the decisions that change what comes next.
Let's take a closer look at that together.
It's national conversations. From major policy shifts to the fun, unexpected trends and friends everyone will be talking about. It is intelligent, unpredictable, and completely Canadian. Stay informed. Stay ahead. The Graham Richardson Show. Friday morning at 9 a.m. right here on CFAX 1070.
Getting to CFAX 1070 traffic and weather now. Well, not much happening on the roads. If you see something, do text us at 71010. But volume delays look fairly light right now from the West Shore into Victoria. For the BC ferries, no sailing waits with the 7 o'clock about to go from Swartz Bay to Tsawwassen. And for the weather forecast, a little foggy for parts of coastal Greater Victoria right now. We do have a chance of showers in the forecast and highs eventually to reach 20 degrees. We'll see it start to clear up a bit as the day goes on. Maybe not really sunny, but at least less of the fog and no chance of showers by afternoon. The chance of showers does come back overnight tonight, probably fog as well, lows to 14 tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud into the afternoon once we get through that fog and a chance of showers. It kind of looks like today, actually. For Wednesday, cloudy still. It's Thursday that things start to clear up a bit. That's where we'll shift into a bit more sunshine and temperatures not that much warmer, but a little warmer, into the low 20s for Thursday, Friday, and the weekend ahead of us, at least in our longer range forecast. Right now for the temperatures, we're hanging around about 14 degrees. That's where we are in North Saanich right now, and that's where we are in Colwood right now.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, we're expecting to talk to BC's Jobs and Economic Minister Ravi Kahlon any moment. We will await that call. If he shows up, we'll take the phone call. But yeah, he was going to catch us up on some things like BC's response to the latest tariff threats from the United States and all of the stuff about, should we have U.S. liquor on the provincial store shelves, which continues to be a big irritant. The Americans keep bringing it up to the federal level, but I mean, and as we know, it's the provinces that are responsible for it. So that's kind of where the decision lies. And should the provinces relent on the U.S. store shelf or booze on U.S. booze on provincial store shelves issue? I guess that was brewing while I was away.
It was, and we made it a poll question, actually.
Oh, what happened?
Well, about 80% say no, stay the course.
Yeah.
Because if it's making a dent, it's making a dent. And with the argument between us and the U.S. That we didn't start, but, we're in the middle of the tariff war nonetheless, we have to have some chips that we can play. And if that's when we can play, most Canadians are saying, yeah. Quebec was not necessarily on board with it, but the rest of the premier's meeting in Charlottetown that happened last week, they all pretty much said yes. And Premier David Eby was pretty direct in his comments about it wasn't going to be going back on the shelves in BC liquor stores. So for the moment, you'll have to shop elsewhere if you're looking for a U.S. product. And the thing is, there is private vendors as well, and it does have product available. But we're taking a stand, basically, against everything that's happening. And one of the ways we're doing it is the prohibition of sorts, light, on U.S. alcohol.
Well, there you go. It's an issue we'll continue to follow, and if we can reach out to Ravi Kahlon, we will. Can I read a text message, Lisa?
Absolutely.
So I was just telling a story a few moments ago about meeting some folks from Esquimalt on a mountain in France. Texter at 71010 says, "Good morning, Ryan. I had a similar experience sitting in a brew pub on my last day in Ireland in 2022, having a bite and a pint in Dublin when the two ladies beside us recognized our Canadian accents. They asked where we were from. We said we were from Vancouver Island. Finally enough, they were too. When we asked where, they said Victoria. They happened to be from Oak Bay. Really small world." That's from Sean. Thank you for sharing, Sean.
That's crazy how that happens. It happens quite often.
Oh, and I did get called out as being Canadian a couple of times.
What?
You
said out and about?
I said A. So I was walking, hiking, and somebody mentioned something, and I responded, and then all of a sudden, he's Canadian. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you just said A.
Didn't even realize
I didn't even realize it.
It's ours. We'll own it.
Yeah. Wasn't even conscious of it. He was a fellow from Texas, and he was very delightful. So there you go.
Well, they usually like it. The response is
it's
sort
positive.
It's a gleeful, oh, look, you just said A.
I found a Canadian in the wild, and he actually said it. He actually said the A thing. It's not just a myth.
That's exactly it. Or you get caught with out and about. Because we say out and we don't say about. I'm not even saying it the American way. You can train yourself, but why would you?
Yeah.
We have to own it. We are Canadians. We will say A. We will say, hold my beer if we need to, which I'm sure you said at some point on your hike.
Yeah.
Here, honey, hold my beer.
Think I can't get up this hill? Hold my beer. Yeah. That's the correct context. And one other story. I had one other story I hadn't told yet.
You got lots of stories.
And since I've got a lot.
You got lots. You got show and tell going on.
I got a minute because we don't have the minister to talk to. So I'm going to tell you this story. The last thing we did, this is Friday, because we came back sort of Saturday, Sunday. the last thing we did was we went and found the Tour de France.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So we finished the hike on Thursday of last week.
Every cyclist's ears pricked up now when you said that.
It was so cool. So we rented a car in Geneva, which is the airport we were flying out of. So we stayed one extra day in Geneva so we could do this. We rented the car, and they were in the Alps as well. Not exactly where we were. We had to drive a little bit to get there. But we went to the foot of a famous hill stage called the Alpe d'Huez, where they go up a mountain, and we were kind of parked in a little town at the bottom, and we had to park far away. We hiked into this little town. We lined this little street in this cool little old French village, and we watched them whiz by you at it seemed like 1,000,000 miles an hour, and they flew on by. They have this circus around them, but an hour beforehand, this parade goes through, throwing things into the crowd.
Really?
Yeah, you get like
candies,
hats and candy and
seriously
drinks and
Can't
things.
Can't they slip on that?
I don't know. I think it gets cleared off beforehand.
Okay.
And they're all like fancy decked out cars. They're all, it looks like a parade. And it blows through. And then the next thing you see is the riders. The riders come through, but it's not just the riders. They have their support cars. They have motorcycles with cameras filming it. All of a sudden, it looks like a military operation because helicopters.
What?
Because they're filming it from helicopters.
We don't see all of that when we're watching it.
The fleets of helicopters flying over as this blows through. So it's not just seeing the cyclists, which go by pretty quickly.
Okay.
You see this whole thing.
This entourage with them, preceding them and after. So here's a dumb question, but how many riders?
Well, it's under 100, but it's a fairly large amount.
Yeah.
But I did get to see for a brief second as he flew by a guy who's kind of like the current Wayne Gretzky of cycling. His name is Tadej Pogačar.
The Lance before the fallout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Lance before the new Lance Armstrong. Well, hopefully this guy's clean though.
All right.
Tadej Pogačar is his name. He's the big it thing, and he won yesterday because the Tour de France finished yesterday. The guy we saw, he won the stage we saw in his yellow jersey because the leader of the Tour de France wears yellow, and he was leading at the time, and he went on to win yesterday. So there you go. He's the victor of the Tour de France, and for a brief moment, I saw him whiz by on a bicycle.
But you saw it, and you were in the energy of it, which is super
it was
cool.
Huge. Neat moment. That was another memory from the trip, just to share. Thank you for listening to my my travel stories.
See, we're going to have Ravi on, but he's sitting listening to your stories.
That was it. He wanted to hear about the Tour de France, so he was too busy listening.
Ravi, we miss you. Come on the show.
If you call, we'll talk to you then. But in the meantime, let's get to the news. Lisa's got your top stories of the day. We got your traffic, weather, and sports all next.
CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It's 7:01 on this Monday, July 27th. A few little sprinkles out there. I got a text saying sprinkling in Mill Bay right now. Also a bit of fog to clear as the morning goes on. Full forecast to come. Right now, though, let's get to the news, and here is Lisa Best.
We'll start with healthcare. New data shows burnout is impacting Canada's emergency rooms. 1 in 10 ER doctors are leaving the profession. A new study published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal today points to an underfunded healthcare system leading to high patient volumes and lack of clinical support. Toronto ER doctor Raghu Venapal weighs in on the study.
When you have an emergency, you want to be attended to in a timely, professional, dignified, and compassionate manner. And we want our emergency room staff to be in a good situation and not burned out and not caustic and not prevented from doing their job.
A study found 48% of ER doctors have reduced their clinical hours. 20% have taken time off due to burnout. On another note, we're going to hear from BC Nurses Union President Adrienne Gears. She'll be live on the CFAX Morning Show at 8:20 to talk about a strike narrowly averted with the BC nurses. Mediator recommendations have been accepted. We're awaiting details on this agreement. She'll be filling in some of the blanks and take some of the steam out of this at 8:20. Chocolate maker Cadbury has issued a recall on one of its products due to undeclared pistachio.
The Canadian Food Inspection Agency says the recall involves several of the company's Dairy Milk Oreo chocolate bars. Officials say there have been reported reactions associated with consuming the products. The CFIA says anyone who bought the chocolate bars should either throw them in the garbage or return them to the store for a refund. It says a food safety investigation is underway and that federal officials will work to make sure the recalled products are pulled from store shelves. Many were hospitalized last year with salmonella after an outbreak of infections linked to certain brands of pistachios and pistachio-containing products. Aaron Sousa, The Canadian Press.
To Seattle now, where a food festival at the heart of the city ended in tragedy late last night. Police say a shootout between two suspects, killing 3 people, injuring 4 others, including a toddler.
A bullet landed into the tree that was right next to us.
Ava Hendricks was at the festival with her family when the gunfire erupted.
It was very scary, and like after the whole thing was over, and we're just waiting for the police to come, and we're just looking at each other like, how are we still alive? How did we make it through that?
One suspect has been taken into custody. Police say another suspect is still on the loose.
An OpenAI chief executive, Sam Altman, is heading to the White House this week to seek approval for the company's most powerful model yet. The meeting happening on the heels of a high-profile safety incident.
The system, capable of solving an 80-year-old math problem, could also take on complex tasks for businesses and the government. But that same ability to act more independently is also raising safety concerns after OpenAI's system was able to hack into another AI platform called Hugging Face during a security test. Hugging Face's CEO calls the hack unprecedented.
You remember 1984, the Skynet of the Terminator films from Canadian director James Cameron were all science fiction back then.
The system goes online on August 4th, 1997. Human decisions are removed from strategic defense. Skynet begins to learn at a geometric rate. It becomes self-aware at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time, August 29th. In a panic, they try to pull the plug.
Skynet fights back.
Yes.
James Cameron has actually gone on record saying, I warned you. But this looks more realistic. In 2026, OpenAI agent breaking in to the test corral this month, traveling the internet, hacking into Hugging Face, another company to solve its problem. The company said the cyber breach was unprecedented. There's more to unpack from this, but experts say it's a cautionary tale, but popular culture influences how people think. That's your news to 7:06.
But the real question is,
yes,
why did Skynet program its Terminator robots with an Austrian accent? Of all the accents.
Because they couldn't get him to change his accent to Canadian?
That's true.
He didn't do the A.
It wouldn't be the same
Arnold
without
with an A.
the Arnie accent. Anyways.
Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking, since there's a shortage right now heading into summer, do you donate blood? Over 80% say no. You could vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 7:07.
Thank you, Lisa. A few sprinkles out there, depending on where you are in Victoria, and some fog. Certainly in the Victoria Harbour area. We've got some fog over downtown and parts of Esquimalt Harbour and beyond. So we'll see that clear up as the day goes on. But that's a condition to watch for as we get into the day. We'll get you a full forecast in a moment. Right now, over to the CFAX 1070 Sports. And hey, I haven't talked about the Commonwealth Games because Canada enters today's Commonwealth Games competition in Glasgow, Scotland, with 9 medals, including 3 golds so far. Toronto swimmer Joshua Lendo and Halifax gymnast Ellie Black added gold medals to Canada's tally yesterday. Lendo defended his men's 100-meter butterfly title before Black became the first person to win 2 all-around gymnastics crowns at the Games. The Commonwealth Games will run until August 2nd, so still a few more days ahead of us. For local sports, Victoria Shamrocks with a 15-3 win over the Burnaby Lakers. Next game for the Shamrocks Thursday, so we don't have to wait long. That's against New Westminster. Pacific FC losing 3-2 in Ottawa to Atletico Ottawa. A couple of goals in the second half got us to a tie, but in the end, it was Ottawa with a 90+6 stoppage time game winner. Victoria Harbour Cats lose 7-3 to the Kamloops North Paws as well to round out the local sports. In baseball, Seattle Mariners with a 6-4 win over the Texas Rangers. Mariners have one last game against the Rangers in that series. That's coming up today. And for the Toronto Blue Jays, Max Scherzer is returning from a thumb injury to be on the mound today as the Jays open up a 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. And for Scherzer, he's not just pitching for the first time since June 10th, he's also celebrating his 42nd birthday while he does it on the mound. That's your CFAX 1070 Sports to 7:09. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps for a comfortable home no matter the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. CFAX at 70 traffic and weather. Text me at 71010 if you see a crash or other problem on the roads. Right now it's looking fairly typical, even maybe lighter than usual volume delays out of the West Shore into Victoria. Other major routes like the Pat Bay Highway and the Malahat looking clear, although do watch for fog and some limited visibility in places because we have some fog clinging to parts of Victoria still this morning. Other than that, in the weather, we do have a small chance of showers this morning. I had a text message from Mill Bay not so long ago saying, yeah, they're seeing some drizzle there. So, yes, some scattered showers are with us this morning. We'll eventually see that all clear up into the afternoon. Highs of 20, a little cooler by the water. Tonight, chance of showers or drizzle back in the forecast. Fog developing again near midnight. Lows down to 14. Then tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds. Still a chance of drizzle into the early part of the day, but by afternoon, we start to clear up. Maybe even seeing some sunny breaks. Still cloudy on Wednesday. The real sunshine comes back on Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend on Saturday. Could still see some clouds, but getting sunnier for the back half of the week. Right now for the temperatures, let's take a look at what we're seeing for the, let's go to Langford. It's 14 degrees in Langford right now. In Oak Bay, it's 13 degrees. First look at the markets. S&P TSX in Toronto up 219 to 35,588. The Dow in New York is up by 538 to 52,486. The Canadian dollar, it's 70.14 cents U.S. Yeah, seeing those stocks opening higher for both sides of the border. Crude oil prices have dropped about 6% as well as Middle East tensions seem to be cooling. Speaking of the crude oil prices, we're going to be talking to Patrick DeHaan, the head of petroleum analysis with Gas Buddy. He's joining us in a little over 5 minutes' time. What will all this mean for the gas prices in Victoria, which last week did go up a little bit? So we're going to get that in just a moment.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Yeah, Lisa, I was away, but I guess gas prices going up last week was in the news.
You know, I think someone texted saying, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Because the yo-yoing, it's kind of like a little bit of the boy who cried wolf, like, what's it going to do next?
Yeah.
It's like this cliffhanger drama we just can't get off of. We can't turn the knob off and just stop it from flowing. So, yeah, gas prices, and they still are, $2.05 is what we topped out last week for a liter of regular. Diesel, it's a kidney or a limb or something. But it was high, and then it sort of tapered off. I'm seeing 189. I'm seeing 199 this morning.
Right, yeah. I think I saw that on my way in.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the Strait of Hormuz, the political unrest and the uncertainty is definitely fueling it, if I may put the pun in there. But it's not the only reason. And, you'd think in the summer, because historically in the summer with the long weekends coming and everybody traveling, the price tends to go up because it's capitalism at its heart. So I don't know. I really can't tell you, and I'm not an expert, but I've been watching this. And there's different reasons. There's different refineries, open, closed, in for cleaning. There's always a reason as to why. But when it jumps 15 cents, as it did one day last week, I don't get it.
Huh. Well, maybe Patrick DeHaan from Gas Buddy can help us out.
That would be good if you could unpack that.
He's joining us next. So stand by for that. Right now, though, I just want to do something because I'm catching up on everything. Yes. I've been away for 2 weeks. Something I really was excited to catch up on was the Kids Count Make a Summer 50-50. For CFAX Santa's Anonymous. This is our big 50-50 draw that will be happening on August the 28th. So it's almost August now.
You have to the 27th to get your money in.
Yeah, so it's a 50-50. You buy a 50-50 ticket, half of it going to charity, CFAX Santa's Anonymous, and half of it going to the winner. And it's up to $9,390.
It's doing well.
That's our jackpot now.
It was a little slow start because I think a lot of people
were away.
Just starting vacation, not really paying attention. But you realize if you're in now, you're pretty much in for five grand. That's, do the math, of course.
And we still have a few weeks left to make it go a lot higher.
Yes.
So if you want in on this, it sounds like there's a lot of time, but it's not really a lot of time because it's going to fly by. So visit CFAX1070.com if you want to, or you can go to CFAXSantas.com, either of those websites, and you'll find the big button to go to the Kids Count Mega Summer 50-50. You buy your tickets online. A single ticket costs you $10, a 5-pack for $25, a 20-pack for $50. Now over to the headlines. Here's Lisa.
Thank you. The BC Wildfire Services personnel from Yukon Protective Services, Alberta, and Mexico is set to arrive in the coming days to help the fight against more than 140 active blazes across the province. That includes a massive Brunswick complex of fires in the Fraser Canyon, which together span more than 355 square kilometers. The community of Boston Bar and the surrounding area are still under evacuation orders. The fire prompting officials to shut off the local water supply last week. That was to help preserve the supply for firefighters. But now the Fraser Valley District is looking into the possible vandalism of the system. Police say a valve was reopened incorrectly and potentially caused serious damage before staff were able to respond. So there's another investigation underway there too. Police in West Vancouver are looking into how a man died while scuba diving in waters off a local park. Police say they were called to a diver in distress at Whitecliff Park near the Horseshoe Bay neighborhood on Sunday morning. They say fellow divers, firefighters, and air ambulance paramedics tried to revive him, but he was declared dead at the scene. Police say the man was in his 60s. They say there's no early indication of suspicious circumstances in the death. The BC Coroner Service is also involved in that. And we had an incident here in Victoria. Saanich Police closing a portion of the Ring Road, Cadbro Bay Road, around Mount Doug Park for a better portion of the day on Saturday after a medical incident caused a single vehicle crash. The car left hanging precariously off the edge of the road. The person is in hospital. No word or update on their health conditions, but we do wish them well. And so the road has since reopened since then. The bridge has not opened east of us yet, but it's coming. Gordie Howe International Bridge between Windsor and Detroit is expected to open in the next hour and a half. The opening comes following months of controversy over the financial aspects of the project, who pays what and who gets what. Canada held a ceremony last week without the U.S. invited to mark the opening. The joint celebration with the U.S. was cancelled over Washington's recent threat to tariff us on Canadian goods, also on wildfire smoke as well. Over 70% of Canadian exports go into the U.S., so we do need that bridge to get open. And U.S. contingents are also asking for to open too. So we'll keep you posted. That's your news to 717.
We've been talking about the gas price hikes. Texter at 71010 says, on Saturday in Sydney, it was 2049.
Yeah.
At Costco Langford, it was 184.9.
Yeah.
Those were some of the price spreads we were seeing. This texter says it jumped 20 cents all at once last week. It went from 184.9 to 204.9 the other week.
Anyone who didn't fill up went, what?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's, and there's the Strait of Hormuz and Iran and U.S. shooting at each other again.
Yeah.
So let's talk about where we're going from here with the gas price story. Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis with Gas Buddy, is joining us next. CFAX at 70 traffic and weather. What's happening out there? Well, not a lot on the roads. No crashes or major congestion to report at this time, other than a bit of a slowdown kind of around where you're on the Island Highway and you can either turn to go through the View Royal route, or you can merge onto the Trans-Canada Highway, kind of where those two things come together. Burnside Bridges area, I guess, is the way to put that. It's a little slow there. It looks slower than usual. If something's going on, text me at 71010 at that location. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits. And for the weather, a little fog, a little drizzle this morning for parts of Greater Victoria. It's going to clear up as the day goes on. Highs to hit about 20. A little cooler if you buy the water.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, where are the gas prices headed now after some volatility around Greater Victoria last week? Let's get to it with the head of petroleum analysis with Gas Buddy. Patrick DeHaan is joining us on the line. Sir, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Now, yeah, we saw some big spikes last week. They've kind of come down a little bit since. That up and down roller coaster continues. Was that the same everywhere, or was that just a Victoria thing, or what's been going on?
No, that is pretty much what we're seeing across the board, coast to coast in Canada. A big jump in prices over the last week. It's the third straight weekly jump. Victoria now averaging $1.99.9 this morning. That's up 9 cents a liter from where we were a week ago. Pretty consistent with, call it a 6-cent jump that we've seen in Canada. The Canadian national average, 179.7. Obviously, quite a bit below Victoria. BC and the Maritimes tend to be the most expensive across the coast. But a lot of this, yes, oil prices having jumped after new escalations between the U.S. and Iran. Of course, those escalations, at least on pause over the weekend, no new attacks, the U.S. holding back, President Trump holding back from launching major attacks on advice from his cabinet. And for now, that is pushing oil prices down fairly noticeably this morning. WTI crude oil down $5.50 a barrel. Brent down almost $6. Today's drop in oil could start to unwind the increases, but we'd have to continue to see more good news of de-escalations. Otherwise, if we flip right back to new escalations, oil could go right back up. So for now, the big dip in oil today may start leading to some relief here in the next few days, maybe not immediately.
And we've been talking gas prices. Are diesel doing the same thing?
Yeah, diesel prices tracking alongside gasoline. Another big jump here. Of course, diesel prices quite a bit above that of gasoline, and part of the reason for that is that Ukraine has been attacking Russian oil refineries. Russia supplies 1 in 9 barrels of oil globally. 1 in 9 barrels of diesel globally. And now that their refineries have been knocked offline, many of the largest refineries, we've seen much more impact to diesel, which nationally in Canada, we are looking at $2.16 an average for diesel, but closer to home in Victoria right now, diesel averaging $243.6. We're getting close to the levels that we saw in April. Hopefully we'll stay below them. That's really going to be a function of whether or not the break in the action over the weekend, if this continues, if de-escalations continue, we may start to see some relief.
It's interesting. So we've been following the Middle East situation, obviously, as a big driver of the gas prices going up and down. But Russia, Ukraine also factoring in a lot when it comes to the diesel situation.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, more broadly, Ukraine's attacks on Russia, not just impacting diesel, but, I've heard a lot about people that are, the price of oil is relatively low. Why are gasoline and diesel prices so high? And keep in mind that, a lot of us are fixed on the price of oil, but that doesn't capture if things are happening downstream. Of course, you need a refinery, to turn that oil into something more valuable. And that's what looking at the price of oil will not always catch, is that disconnect if there's something happening at refineries. And boy, how many times have we talked about refineries in the last, couple of years? Whenever there's an issue impacting prices, refineries tends to be pretty high up on the list for being a potential culprit. So, you can have all the oil in the world, but if you don't have refineries, the price of oil can be dirt cheap, and gasoline and diesel could be sky high in price.
Patrick, do you start to feel like a doctor, always hearing our aches and pains lately?
Well, and unfortunately, a doctor, most times should be able to address aches and pains. I can just relay, hey, we're all feeling the pinch of the pump, but I don't know if that pinch is going to get harder, in the days ahead. It's really just a function of what happens there. But certainly really frustrating, this roller coaster ride we're on.
And we just never have gas sales. And the whole aspect that we use historically have in summertime, where we head into a long weekend and everyone complains that gas prices will jump ahead of the long weekend, that's all gone out the window with this latest political strife and war on. It doesn't seem to matter anymore what's happening locally. It's all about what's happening around the world.
Well, and, even when it comes to long weekends, there's not actually such an increase in demand that it impacts prices. It's it'd be far too simple if it was just that predictable. It's always about coincidental timing, whether it's the U.S. and Iran, Russia, Ukraine. Hurricane season often, rears its head in the second half of the summer as well. So almost always it's never about a long weekend, but what is going on the global scale at the same time that leads to a price disruption, that often can overlay whatever is going on, whether it be a holiday or something else.
Patrick, I got a text message at 7:10:10. It says, Canada needs another refinery. in the best way. Quickest way to do it would be build it offshore, bring it to the West Coast. What are your thoughts on would another refinery, more refining capacity in Canada help out with any of this?
Well, that certainly would give some breathing room. That would help the price of oil better match that of gasoline and diesel. But at this point, boy, it probably would take more than just one refinery. And that refinery, unfortunately, would probably take half a decade to build. I mean, these refineries don't get built overnight. Even expansions, between permitting approvals and building it, they can take years. And the other difficulty is uncertainty. I mean, refining has not been profitable traditionally. Right now, we're in a temporary period where it's very profitable. But, that always has tended to fade away. And building one over water, boy, I don't think that'll ever happen.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks for responding to the text message. We got Patrick DeHaan here. He's head of petroleum analysis with Gas Buddy, just talking about the volatility in gas prices, at least kind of coming down a little bit after the big spikes last week. Final word to you, Patrick. Just looking ahead, I think you pretty much sketched it out. There's a lot of question marks still. So don't really know where we're heading, I guess, is the bottom line.
Yeah, it's hard to predict beyond a week or two because just like you, I have no crystal ball. I don't know what is going to be next. So we'll navigate it together, and I'm happy to update. But, what happens today could quickly change tomorrow. For now, oil prices plummeting big. That could lead to some modest relief in the next few days. But, whether or not it's long-lasting, watch the headlines and listen to you guys tell the news.
Very good. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Speaking of telling the news, Lisa's got all your top stories of the day coming up with the 7:30 report in just a moment. I've also got what seems like a crash at sort of the Island Highway, just where it turns to go Island Highway through View Royal instead of merging onto the Trans-Canada, right at that Burnside Bridges area. Looks like a collision there. I'm not really sure about the details, though. If you see anything, let me know at 71010.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Celebrate our coast at Cadboro Bay Festival, Sunday, August 9th from 11 to 3 p.m. Victoria Symphony presents Symphony in the Summer Festival, July 10th through August 9th. Details at victoriasymphony.ca. Have an event you want featured on CFAX 1070? Text us at 71010 to be featured. Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 7:30 on this Monday, July 27th. Quick traffic note, a little collision of some kind on the Island Highway just as you kind of merge to go towards View Royal instead of getting onto the Trans-Canada Highway there, Burnside Bridges area. Texter says, hey, Ryan, I drove by it about 15 minutes ago. I think it's just a fender bender. It is right at the corner. Watch out for that. So we'll tell you more on traffic right now. The news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning. BC wildfire update for you. 139 fires burning in this province. 56 considered out of control. There's been 20 new starts in the last 24 hours. None of those on Vancouver Island. The 4 that are burning on the island are either being held or under control. So quick work by Mother Nature and crews on those. 2 fires threatening the village of Clinton and the area have merged now. They merged on the weekend, spanning now 670 square kilometers in the South Caribou region. An update from BC Wildfire Services. The Pear Lake and 59 Creek blazes combined on Thursday, continuing to spread. The fire's projected growth has prompted the Thompson-Nicola Regional District to post a notice about the planned evacuation order for the community of 70 Mile House and the area around that. That's about 30 kilometers north of Clinton. The message on the district's Facebook page says residents should be ready to leave shortly this morning. France's interior minister says that monster wildfire that has stopped growing, but it has forced 220,000 people out of their home in the country's southwest. They say they haven't beaten back the flames yet. French President Emmanuel Macron held a crisis meeting earlier today to address the uncontrolled fires that forced thousands to flee. In the Gironde region, the flames have burned an area 4 times the size of Paris in nearby Spain. Wildfires around Madrid and Valencia also leading to evacuations. The fires, fueled by repeated heat waves throughout the region, are sparking calls for stronger climate action. Locally, Victoria apparently has become a popular destination for some nefarious characters, those fleeing the law.
Victoria residents live among 80 fugitives wanted on warrants, and police say they can't get rid of them due to policy shortfalls. Some 31 of those meet the criteria to be potentially returned under the BC Fugitive Return Programme run by the RCMP. Some of these have serious charges like sexual assault or assaulting a police officer, but to date, 0 have been returned. There is no equivalent national level programme. Instead, individual fugitive return needs to be initiated by contacting Crown Council offices in each province. Deputy Chief Jamie McRae told the police board that the department has not had a ton of success, citing agencies declining to accept returned fugitives among other challenges. Saanich Police reported facing similar obstacles. City Council will recommend this week that governments cooperate to bring forward any legislation, policy and budgetary changes needed to expand the Fugitive Return Programme and to better coordinate successful returns within and between provinces. Koch Cadden, CFAX 1070 News.
In Seattle, a food festival at the heart of the city ending in tragedy late last night. Police say a shootout between 2 suspects killed 3 people, injuring 4 others, including a small child.
Police say just after 6 p.m., fire crews responded to reports of a shooting during the Bite of Seattle food festival at Seattle Center. Vendors set up and families enjoying the evening when gunfire sent crowds running for cover.
I thought it was fireworks.
People sheltering inside of buildings around Seattle Center.
We were trying to run away, once we heard the shots. Everybody kind of just started panicking.
First responders rushing to the festival, attempting to revive 2 of the people who were shot.
1 suspect is in custody. Police say they're still searching for that second shooter. The Gordie Howe International Bridge is opening today, hours from now, after months of controversy over the finances and who gets what.
In a social media post last February, President Donald Trump insisted the U.S. would have to be compensated before he would allow the bridge to open. He falsely claimed the $6.4 billion structure connecting Windsor, Ontario, and Detroit was built with virtually no American content. Canada subsequently agreed to make some adjustments concerning the sharing of revenues. Canada then held a ceremony last week to help mark the opening of the bridge, but a joint celebration with the U.S. was canceled over Washington's recent threat of new tariffs on Canadian goods. Lisa Laporte, The Canadian Press.
And the deadline's approaching at the end of August for Canadians to file a claim for their share of nearly $5 million class action lawsuit for the drug Rizocti.
Canadians have until August 27th to file their claim. Quebec Superior Court approved the settlement in November, a year after authorizing the national class action against Otsuka Canada Pharmaceutical Inc. and Lundbeck Canada Inc. The class action covers Canadians who were prescribed Rexulti since early 2017 and later developed compulsive behaviors or impulse control disorders, such as gambling, shopping, or binge eating. Lawyers representing affected patients and families have said the deal is a compromise with no admission of liability. Applicants could receive anywhere from roughly $6,500 for mild cases to more than $102,000 in more severe ones. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
That's your news to 7:36. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. There's a shortage right now, as historically it has been going into summer. So we're asking you if you give blood. You donate. 83% on Twitter X say no, they do not. That number rises to 88% on the CFAX1070.com website. You can vote there or also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best. Your news time is 7:37.
Thank you, Lisa. Thanks so much to texters at 71010 for letting me know what was going on the Island Highway heading in towards Victoria. Just as you hit your decision whether you merge to go Island Highway through View Royal or you continue up Burnside or you go to the Trans-Canada Highway. You know what I'm talking about. There's all those decisions right there. Well, on the merge to go into View Royal on the Island Highway, that turn lane, there was a fender bender earlier, according to texters. It seems like it is still moving, but maybe just a little extra slow still in that area. If you're going by that, that's what's happening. A little fender bender that seems to be still slowing things down a bit at this time. CFAX 1070 Sports, Victoria Shamrocks with a big win over the Burnaby Lakers. Dominant Shamrocks still 15-3 the win. Next game Thursday against the New Westminster Salmon Bellies. In soccer, Pacific FC fell just short in a tight 3-2 battle against Atletico Ottawa. So we had 2 second-half goals from Victoria, from Pacific FC to even up the game, but it was at 90 plus 6 minutes of stoppage time that Ottawa got the game winner and took the game in the end. Victoria Harbour Cats in baseball, they lost 7-3 to the Kamloops North Paws. And speaking of baseball, Max Scherzer of the Toronto Blue Jays celebrates his 42nd birthday today, and he's going to do it by being the pitcher on the mound, returning from his thumb injury. He hasn't played a game in the majors since June 10th, but he'll be there today for his birthday as they open up a series against the Washington Nationals. The Jays lost 2 of 3 weekend games at Fenway Park against the Boston Red Sox. Seattle Mariners in the middle of a set against the Texas Rangers. Yesterday, Mariners win 6-4 over the Rangers, and one more game in that series coming up today. That's your CFAX 1070 Sports to 7:39. The whole morning show here brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season, big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. Designed for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. Well, just one more time, I'll mention the fender bender, View Royal. Just as you're on the Island Highway and you're kind of coming in towards Victoria and you decide to take the merge lane, I guess merge lane's the wrong word, the turn lane to go and continue on Island Highway through View Royal instead of heading up towards the Trans-Canada Highway or Burnside. Well, there was a fender bender there a little while ago earlier this morning. It's still causing a bit of a slowdown. Thanks for the updates at 7:10:10 and keep them coming. Let me know what's going on out there. Otherwise, it seems fairly easy for the commute. No other major issues. For the BC ferries, no sailing waits. 8 o'clock is next. We do have that extra 8 o'clock sailing. It is 85% full from Swartz Bay to Tsawwassen, but it's leaving pretty soon. The weather, lots going on here. So a bit of drizzle coming down for parts of Greater Victoria so far this morning. We got that fog with us as well. It's been thick at times along the coast. That's going to clear up as the day goes on. Highs of 20, a little cooler by the water. Tonight, we will see fog develop again. Chance of drizzle overnight again. Lows to 14. Tomorrow, we will eventually get to a mix of sun and cloud once the drizzle and fog clears up from the morning. Highs tomorrow again to about 20 degrees. Looking further ahead into the long-range forecast, still cloudy on Wednesday. Starts to clear for Thursday, Friday, and the weekend. Maybe still a few clouds, but getting more into some sunshine. Not necessarily getting a lot hotter. It's going to stay in the low 20s as a temperature as we head into that back half of the week in the sunshine. On the markets, S&P TSX in Toronto up 65 to 35,434. The Dow in New York is up 365 to 52,312. Crude oil has been coming down again. It's dropped almost $6 a barrel so far on the day. We're seeing those crude prices drop about 6% overall as Middle East tensions have been cooling for now. We're talking to Patrick DeHaan from Gas Buddy a few moments ago actually about that. And yeah, things are going down now, but there's a lot of factors still kind of in the mix, and he says it's going to be hard to tell exactly where oil prices are going. But for the moment, we might see those world oil prices trickle down at the pumps at some point locally if things kind of keep going that way, according to Patrick DeHaan. For the rest of the business market watch here, let's just take a quick look at the dollar, which is at 70.9 cents U.S., down just a fraction of a cent from the close last week.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Oh, I'm appreciating the text messages today, by the way, with the welcome back messages. Good morning and welcome back, Ryan says, texter at 71010. Spent a couple of weeks in Europe doing a big hike around this mountain called Mont Blanc between France, Switzerland, and Italy. So I got to cross through all those countries in a giant hike that took 11 days. It was great. Thank you so much for the kind words. But one of the things I got to do, Lisa, is I got to catch up on what's been going on because I only just got back. Like I haven't had a lot of time back home. Another story I'm catching up on, and help me out with this. Apparently, the Whitecaps are interested in taking over the running of BC Place as that whole Vancouver Whitecap story continues with the team unhappy and maybe moving, you know, all that drama.
Yeah.
What's this about
stateside?
What's this about them maybe looking into BC Place as a thing that they could run, not just sort of be a tenant of?
Yeah, well, it's not just them now. Apparently, there's a football team involved, interested in being in. BC Place seems to be a real hot spot right now. I wonder if it was because there was a little tournament on.
Yeah.
Maybe that, having those World Cup games in the area, BC Place, and having Vancouver on the map for so long made a difference. But we'll find out. I just think it's really interesting, and I really, really don't want the Whitecaps heading south of the border. As there's been interest, of course. We'd like to keep our team here. If you have interest in that. So we're going to find out more from Vancouver Sun sports columnist Patrick Johnson. He's going to be live in a few minutes at 7:50 to tell us about the BC Place being the darling and everyone courting it, and what the province has to say about this as well.
Yeah, interesting story. One of the things I thought was interesting, one, like you said, the FIFA World Cup taking place at BC Place Stadium. It got a bunch of upgrades, which you got to think has got to help.
Yeah, you got to gussy it up for it.
So many people who were reviewing the different host cities said one of the big things Vancouver had going for it was that location of BC Place Stadium. That's right downtown.
Right.
It's right off the transit lines. Some of these big American cities with these gorgeous stadiums, but they're in the middle of nowhere. You can't possibly walk to them or transit to them. You gotta, even if you're like in a hotel across the street, you can't actually walk because there's no infrastructure for it.
Well, even Scotiabank, you think when Scotiabank was built in Ottawa, Canada didn't exist, which is Ottawa West, and so the community came up around it. But they're doing this more and more for these sites that people travel to because they need the places to park. What BC Place has done is they've created the infrastructure to be able to move people.
Yeah.
And so you can get to a game. Steve goes over regularly.
Which is such a great thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Having transit, having rail in place, having all these people movers in place, you can have your stadiums in the heart of the city. And really, it's a great place to do it because all the businesses around it then will survive and thrive because of the people coming in.
Let's talk about it next. 7:46 now, though. Let's get to the headlines with Lisa.
The U.S. president is set to defend his economic policies in Michigan, where his newly announced Canadian tariffs may be stinging. Trump plans to visit suburban Detroit, defending sweeping tariffs in a swing state where the effects may hurt businesses as a midterm election season heats up. He's visiting a GM facility in Milford, hopes to track and improve grounds for new models and vehicles. Early voting is underway in Michigan's August 4th primary, which features fierce nomination fights in both major political parties. A new study shows finances and brain health are apparently tied together. British researchers looking at 2,700 people who were 80 and older and found those in the bottom 20% financially in their midlife were slower on cognitive tests and scored worse on memory tests in their later years. The study shows cognitive decline was slower for those better off financially at midlife. The study is published in the Innovation of Aging journal. An update on Carly Simon, the singer known for her hit You're So Vain, has been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. In a statement today, the 83-year-old sharing her journey of learning to live with the condition. She experienced arthritis and underwent joint replacement surgeries, but her mobility continued to decline. The diagnosis finally came at the Mayo Clinic. Simon also revealed she's been being treated for basal cell sarcoma on her face, so she has skin cancer. Despite health challenges, music, she says, has been a solace. She will release new music, Comes in Waves, her first album of original songs since 2008. That will drop next month. That's your news to 747.
All right, let's get to this story. BC Place Stadium. Could the sports teams like the Whitecaps, even the BC Lions, be interested in running this? Sports columnist with the Vancouver Sun, Patrick Johnson, weighing in next.
You've heard the chaos. Now you can see it. Oh my God. Watch all your favorite podcasts from start to finish right inside the free iHeartRadio app.
Gets the blood going, huh?
Catch every laugh and eye roll on shows like the Tom Green Farmcast and Park the Bus. Now with full video.
We're building a ramp for Tony Hawk.
It's the same hosts and the same chemistry with all the hilarious moments you've been missing right on your screen.
Cheers.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search video podcasts, and tap watch.
CFAX traffic and weather. By the way, the whole morning show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Until August 5th, get 600 Scene Plus points when you buy any participating cheeses and meats to build your own summer snacking bundle. For the traffic, the only thing going right now is that continued slowdown, and it's really starting to ease up, but continued slowdown Island Highway heading towards Victoria just as you actually kind of hit the turn lane to keep going on the Island Highway into View Royal, right by Adams Storage, that kind of area there. There is a fender bender that's been slowing things up a bit, but traffic seems to be moving around it okay. Just could be a bit slow still as you go through that area. Any updates, let me know at 71010. For the weather, it is a little foggy, a little drizzly for this morning. It'll eventually start to ease up. Still cloudy for the day, but the fog should clear and the drizzle should clear into the afternoon, highs of 20. It's coming back again tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow's forecast looks very much the same as today. Wednesday, cloudy, and then some sunshine for Thursday, Friday, and the weekend.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, I've been away, but I know last week here on the show we spoke to post-media sports columnist Patrick Johnson, who got us into the loop about the Whitecaps expressing interest in running BC Place Stadium. Now he's joining us with some more news on this story, so it's great to get him here. Sir, Patrick, how you doing?
I'm great. It's lovely to be over here in Vancouver and great to be over there in Victoria.
Now it's great to get the update from you, but like I said, I've been away, so I'm pretty behind on the story. Catch us up on what's going on.
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, I guess 10 days ago or so we get. All right, no, I can't remember. I've lost track. 10 days ago. 10 days ago, there's the word that Whitecaps have started talking about maybe trying to lease the stadium. Was it 2 weeks ago? Can't remember anymore. Anyway, late last week, I talked to Minister Ravi Kahlon, and he mentioned to me, we're just sort of discussing how things are going and how well the World Cup went, and sort of where things are at. The province and the team and various other groups have been talking about the future of the Whitecaps for quite some time now, but all impressions have been pretty positive. They've met a lot. There hasn't been any formal proposals, but they've talked about basically the Whitecaps' revenue challenges playing at BC Place. Their sort of long-stated ambition to build their own stadium, which they also think will help them find a new owner or at least a new investor, because the current owners have said we can't keep funding this. We're losing too much money. And along the way, 12 minutes into a 15-minute conversation, it comes up that, hey, they'd even consider if someone wanted to buy the stadium, the government would consider that, which felt like a huge turnaround.
Yeah, that's a massive update. Yeah.
And I said to him, listen, I mean, you guys have always said this is an important community asset. I totally understand, sort of your desire to sort of maintain that. And, on the other hand, as I think the Whitecaps would say, what are we going to do? Not book concerts? Like, the province's position has been there's a lot of things that go on here. And I think BC Place has gotten better. I mean, they booked 8 concerts last year, booked 9 concerts this year. They used to only book half of that. They've started to figure their way out in the big concert world. So, it's a place that is been busier. Obviously, they need tenants like the Whitecaps and the BC Lions, and that's been the extra wrinkle in all this. So the minister tells me on Thursday that they consider selling it if, the right offer came along, and obviously he thinks that would have to be a pretty substantial offer because there's a ton of debt on that stadium. They've invested a ton in the stadium. So BC Lions owner Amar Doman basically comes out that he's expressed interest in buying the stadium. And I certainly spoke to a source, and they confirmed that, this has been something that's been an interest of his for quite some time. So, we'll see. It's not necessarily for sale, but it could be for sale. And I guess the question now is what would be someone be willing to pay for it?
Now, let's talk about the BC Lions, because, of course, that's the other big sports tenant of BC Place Stadium. How do they fit into this?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, it's different from the Whitecaps situation. The Whitecaps, their major challenge has been basically that the league that Greg Kerfoot and Steve Nash and Jeff Mallon and Steve Lusso bought into 15 years ago is no longer the league that it is now, right? Salaries have exploded. Thomas Muller, the Whitecaps' superstar that they signed last year, alone makes more than the entire BC Lions roster. The costs of being in Major League Soccer are much, much larger than being the CFL. The CFL obviously also has that very good TSN contract. If you want to flip that around, the TSN contract is essentially the Apple TV contract that Major League Soccer has. So, Major League Soccer is this North American-wide league. They're paying lots of salaries. There's not a lot of money coming in general. And it's hard to sell national sponsorships. It's hard to sell local sponsorships. The CFL has sort of found its way, right? The Lions have become this solid quality product under Amar Doman. They've found their niche, kind of reestablished themselves as a thing to do. Doman has been a forward-looking, positive owner for this team. I mean, I think it's brought a lot of buzz in with his efforts to bring in sort of opening concerts, Snoop Dogg, LL Cool J, guys like that. And there's good vibes around the team. And obviously he runs some very successful businesses. People, his business, the Doman companies, they are doing something like $3 billion worth of business, I was reading. So he is a guy that's dealing with a lot of cash. Running a stadium is in theory, is a lucrative business because concerts don't cost you very much. So in fact, if you almost could cut away the sports team, you do a lot better. But people like going to see sports.
Yeah.
And so there's a reason why we keep doing it, right? Like it's the margins are not in sports, but so there's sort of, you can see why you can sort of squint and say, okay, for the right price, and maybe this is something worth investing. So we'll see. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out because the government certainly, I think, would have a feeling it would have to be a big price, and I'm not sure anybody actually would want to do that given the challenges of running a modern stadium.
But it sounds like the BC Lions, were they interested in buying it as well? Maybe because the Whitecaps, Whitecaps seem to be. Were the Lions also in this boat?
This is the flip side. Yeah, this is the challenge in all of it, right? So we know that the Whitecaps have offered to essentially do a management deal. In the wake of all this, the minister goes and says, well, yeah, we've been talking to all kinds of solutions, including perhaps having the team purchase the stadium. Now, we don't have it officially that the team has offered to purchase the stadium. We know that they've proposed the idea. They haven't put a formal proposal. They've said, hey, would you guys talk about us managing the stadium?
Okay.
And along the way, in the back of all this, on Friday afternoon, comes out word that the BC Lions have actually made an expression of interest, whatever that means. But they've gone and said, yeah, we'd love to talk about buying the stadium. So certainly there's interest in buying the stadium. There's interest in managing the stadium. The future of BC Place is, I think, going to be a very interesting one. But as it stands, how that's all going to shake out is still very unclear.
I got a couple of follow-up questions. One, just what kind of numbers are we talking about? If you were the BC Whitecaps and you were going to buy BC Place Stadium, just hypothetically, like what kind of dollar figure is on this thing?
Well, I went and I did a column on this on the weekend, and I talked to a few people who think about this kind of stuff. And you know what? The answers were pretty disparate, right? There's one person who said to me, nothing. You just take on the liabilities, right? Like there is something $119 million in debt still on that stadium. That alone, take that off the government's books. I mean, obviously it's a drop in the bucket for budgets that are counted in the billions, but it's still a liability that they don't have to deal with anymore. Others would have said, no, you're going to have to, there's just no way the government's letting it go for that little. You have to account for the fact that 15 years ago, $500 million was poured in just basically the roof and a few other upgrades. For the World Cup alone, there's been something like $200 million in upgrades, right? Like there's been a lot of money spent on that stadium. It's a world-class stadium now. Everybody raved about it. It looked great during the World Cup. It worked really well. It is it may be 43 years old technically, but it's a fully modern stadium by all other accounts in terms of, suites and club rooms and fan experience and food and everything about it, right? Other than, I suppose, the turf, which you could talk about as a separate topic. But yeah. it's a beautiful modern stadium. So what is it worth, right? Like, how do you upgrade your house? What's your house worth? Would the BC assessment value on the land is quite lucrative, but are you actually selling the land? I mean, the stadium itself is valued at just, I guess, $62 million, but what does that mean, So it's a tough question. It's not clear to me exactly what the price would be, but I think my instinct is that we're talking like $1 billion. If you really want to do this seriously,
okay.
That you're going to have to bring a big number to the table. And I think that is actually why the Whitecaps might be interested in that, just as a side point, because they're playing in a very expensive league. There's only a few teams that truly make a lot of money. But if they were to own the stadium, they would suddenly vault to the top of the table in terms of team value. They'd be up there with LAFC and Inter Miami, and the teams that are truly owned and run by billionaire operations and are sort of globally known now. Even if the league is sort of middling, those are teams that draw a lot of global attention. And the Whitecaps they've always wanted to try to position themselves as such. And that's long been the longstanding argument of why they are in Major League Soccer, because this is a big global city, despite everything else.
Well, we got to leave it there, but interesting stuff. It sounds like there's more to come here, so maybe we'll chat again soon if there's any developments, okay?
I have no doubt that we will talk again soon.
Patrick Johnson, he's a sports columnist with the Vancouver Sun. Read his work there, and we'll chat more soon. But right now, we got to get to the news. 8 o'clock report with Lisa next.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 8:02 on this Monday, July 27th. Little fog, little drizzle with us. We'll get you a full forecast in a moment. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
That moisture and the cool air overnight certainly putting a dent on the fire situation here on Vancouver Island. The 4 fires burning here are either being held by crews or considered under control, so doing very well heading into the summer months here on Vancouver Island. Across BC, a little different story. The BC Wildfire Update has 139 fires burning, 56 of those considered under control. There's been at least 20 new starts in the last day. 2 fires threatening Clinton and the surrounding area have merged. That happened on the weekend. They now span nearly 670 square kilometers in the South Caribou region. The Pear Lake and 59 Creek blazes combined late Saturday and continue to spread. There's many people are on evacuation notice, and that is expected to come today. The deadline happening later this month for Canadians to file a claim for their share of a nearly $5 million class action lawsuit over the drug Rexulti.
Canadians have until August 27th to file their claim. Quebec's Superior Court approved the settlement in November, a year after authorizing the national class action against Otsuka Canada Pharmaceutical Inc. and Lundbeck Canada Inc. The class action covers Canadians who were prescribed Rexulti since early 2017 and later developed compulsive behaviors or impulse control disorders, such as gambling, shopping, or binge eating. Lawyers representing affected patients and families have said the deal is a compromise with no admission of liability. Applicants could receive anywhere from roughly $6,500 for mild cases to more than $102,000 in more severe ones. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
Another food festival attack, this one in the heart of Seattle. It ended with a deadly shooting late last night.
Police overnight revealing it all started with 2 men shooting at each other. The victims caught in the crossfire. 3 people were killed. 4 others were injured, including a 2-year-old boy shot in the arm. 1 suspect is in custody, but overnight, this second shooter was on the run.
A stunning and scary scene in Seattle last week. 2 people literally jumped off the iconic Space Needle on purpose.
Clean sector hazard at the Space Needle.
The incident unfolding just before 9 p.m. on Friday.
2 people jumped off the Space Needle observation deck.
Police say 2 men illegally climbed a glass wall on the observation deck of Seattle's iconic Space Needle and jumped off before deploying parachutes. Onlookers stunned. Video showing 1 man standing on the ledge, doing a backflip, and then leaping from the 605-foot structure. 1 parachute seen descending to the ground before vanishing from camera view.
Anything for Instagram. And a new cybersecurity alliance is gaining traction in the tech world in the wake of some major AI hacking incidents.
NVIDIA, SpaceX, Dell, and Microsoft are among the companies joining forces on the Open Secure AI Alliance. The goal, to create advanced cybersecurity tools to guard against attacks from artificial intelligence, like the one where 2 of OpenAI's models hacked into the website Hugging Face. The group says it wants these tools to be open source, meaning any developer can modify the source code of the tool to suit their own specific use case. OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google have not signed on to the alliance. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
And that's your news to 8:06. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. We're asking, do you donate blood? Over 80% on our website say no, and about the same are saying no on Twitter X as well. You can vote at both those sites also on the iHeart Radio app. And Lisa Best, your news time is 8:07.
Lisa.
Yes.
We've got to tell everybody about something.
Okay.
We're going to do a meat draw.
Sure are.
Have you heard about this?
Oh, well, we kind of broke the news a little bit last week.
I'm just getting back from vacation.
Well, it's exciting for you because it's all new, but
I know.
we've been waiting for this to start.
Well, this is what's going to happen. You've been to a meat draw, I hope. They're pretty fun. I like a good meat draw. What we're going to do to turn this onto radio mode.
I was not expecting that to come from you.
I like a good meat draw.
Okay, then.
Who doesn't?
Let's have it.
So we're doing it on the radio. It's Glenwood Meats, obviously, is our partner here. Would you like some meat from Glenwood Meats for the long weekend ahead? We'd like to give you $100 to go spend. Right?
That'll do.
I'm right? That's correct?
It's $100.
Okay, good. I'm not getting it wrong. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a secret number between 1 and 100.
Correct.
You have to text us a number between 1 and 100.
This is wild draw.
And if you get it right, we'll call you and give you a qualifying opportunity to be the big winner. Is that right?
Yes, that sounds right.
That's correct. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm right here.
We're hoping someone actually picks the correct number between 1 and 100.
Or the closest in the next few minutes.
Well, that works.
The closest to the number in the next few minutes, I think, is what we're going to do.
Do you remember in The Price is Right where someone would just be smart and put $1 because as long as you didn't go over, it's not the same thing.
No, you gotta be close.
Got to become close.
So pick a number between 1 and 100. Text it to us at 71010. You can do it now if you want. The closest number is going to get a phone call from us.
Okay.
As we get into our meat draw.
Okay.
Right now, though, let's get to the sports. I love that we're doing a meat draw from Glenwood Meats.
Yeah, why not? It's food, right?
It's great.
It's expensive. Let's go for it.
Let's talk baseball. You know, Max Scherzer, Blue Jays pitcher. It's his 42nd birthday today. And he's celebrating by getting back on the mound because he's been out since June 10th with a thumb injury. But no, he's going to be pitching for the Blue Jays today, celebrating his birthday as they host the Washington Nationals. The Jays just lost 2 of their 3 weekend games at Fenway Park against the Boston Red Sox. So hopefully we can get a victory as well for Max Scherzer on his birthday. Seattle Mariners with a 6-4 win against the Texas Rangers. Mariners won last game in that current series against the Rangers. That's coming up today. In soccer, Pacific FC in action in Ottawa yesterday. It was close. 3-2 was the win for Ottawa in the end. And that winning goal from Ottawa came at 6 minutes into stoppage time right at the end of the game. Victoria Shamrocks with a 15-3 win over the Burnaby Lakers. Next game is Thursday against New Westminster. That's your CFAX Sports to 8:10. We're doing the Glenwood Meats meat draw. You want $100 to Glenwood Meats? Text us 71010 if you get the number closest to the secret number today between 1 and 100. We'll call you in just a second and give you $100 to Glenwood Meats. I'm looking through at 71010 as we speak to see if anybody's picked the number. The first person to get the number right goes. And if we just have a closest number in the next few moments, we'll go with that. But that's what we're doing. It's the meat draw. Pick a number between 1 and 100. If you get it right, we'll call you. Right now, traffic and weather. It looks like we're pretty much clear, but maybe not quite on the Island Highway instance. So this is just as you're coming in towards Victoria and the Island Highway, right? You're about to make the decision if you go in towards View Royal or if you head up towards Burnside or the Island Highway, Trans-Canada Highway. It's kind of in the turning lane in towards View Royal. There's been a fender bender just sort of slowing things up for the last hour or so. It still looks like it's there. It's still a little slow, but traffic is getting through. If you have any updates, you can text me at 71010. Throw in your meat draw number while you're at it if you want. We're going to get to that in just a second. The weather forecast is a little foggy. It is a little drizzly this morning. In fact, if you look at that Harper Cam shot that we keep showing, you just see nothing but cloud right now because there's a big fog moving in front of the building downtown Victoria where our Harper Cam is positioned. So, yeah, that's sort of our morning. It's going to clear up a little bit as the day goes on. Highs will hit about 20 degrees, a little cooler by the water. Tomorrow, it's the same day again. It's just the same thing, the drizzle, maybe some fog into the morning, less of it in the afternoon tomorrow. By Wednesday, it's just some clouds. By Thursday, Friday, we might get into some sunshine. On the markets, S&P TSX just up by 7 points, so fairly uneventful on the S&P TSX right now at 35,376. The Dow up 229 to 52,176. The Canadian dollar at 70.9 cents U.S. And we've got the barrel of crude oil down $5.50 or so to $83.07 U.S. a barrel. So oil prices coming way down on the market there as it looks like some Middle East tensions are cooling, but we'll see where things go from there.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
We're doing a meat draw for Glenwood Meats, and I've just had the right number come in.
What?
Here's what we're doing. So we've picked a number between 1 and 100.
Someone's psychic?
We picked a number between 1 and 100 today. And we've had like a million text messages. This is fantastic. It's 7-10-10. And we were just going to, the first person to get the number right is going to get a phone call and get $100 to Glenwood Meats just in time for the long weekend. I got to make a phone call though, Lisa, because just the logistics of this. I mean, I now have to make a phone call. So can I just dial some numbers here? Everybody bear with me as I dial some numbers.
We're just going to talk amongst ourselves while you're... maybe put some. Can you put some hold music on?
I should put some hold music on.
We'd have some good hold music.
Okay, just pushing numbers. Pushing numbers. Is that right?
Okay.
Oh wait.
Do we have a name attached to this person? We're just blinding.
Oh, here we go. You ready?
Okay. This sounds good. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now we know their
right.
number.
now I gotta dial it
right
correctly.
Person.
Yeah.
Now is this for qualifying or winning?
You're gonna win $100 if you pick up the phone.
Boom boom.
Good morning.
Hey, are you in a meat draw right now on CFAX Radio?
I am. Oh my God.
And you answered your phone and everything.
You picked up.
I know. I'm sitting here looking at it, watching you.
Who's
I watch
calling?
you every morning, and then I looked down and my phone lit up, and I went, "Oh my God!" Oh, I'm so excited.
Well, we had a number between 1 and 100 today for the meat draw, and the number was 50. We went right down the middle, and you were the first person to text us 50. So, what's your name?
Linda.
How
did you know Linda?
Oh, I'm psychic.
Well, it seems so. Everyone's envious now. It's like, what? You just like that, 50.
I know. I'm buying a lot of.
Well, you should.
Yeah, you better after today. Or maybe you used up all your luck. I'm not sure. But
No, she's got more to go around.
Really.
Keep going this.
Oh.
All right.
Now you get to go to Glenwood, do some shopping.
Thank you so much. Yes, definitely.
100%.
Soon.
Linda, Glenwood Meats, that's where you get the $100. What is your meat of choice?
Prime rib.
Ooh.
Oh, I like you.
See, yeah, I would do that.
I got class.
If I had the $100, I'd go and buy that cut of meat that I can't usually justify. Get the good one.
Because it's so expensive.
That's what I can't justify buying right now.
But now you got $100.
And how are you going to cook it? How are you going to cook it?
On the Barbie.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
You're having a good Monday.
When you buy prime rib, you don't have to do anything fancy. It just stands alone. It does its own thing.
It does.
Linda, don't go anywhere. Can I put you on hold a second?
You betcha.
Because I want to talk to you off air and make sure you get your prize. But hey, if you missed out on our Glenwood Meats meat draw ahead of the BC Day long weekend, don't worry. We're doing this every day at this very time, all this week. We're picking a number every day between 1 and 100. The first person to text us the correct number wins the meat draw.
So easy.
I love this. This is
but
great.
But it's hard because you got to get the number right.
It's a different number tomorrow. It will not be 50 tomorrow.
Of course.
Just heads up. It's going to be different.
Don't say 50.
50. And you got to be the first one to get it. Then we'll call you. Texter 71010 says, my phone didn't ring.
I know. But
so
hope
sorry.
springs eternal because we've got more days to come.
Try again tomorrow. Random chance. All right, what's going on in the news? Here's Lisa.
Let's talk about what's happening stateside and how it can be affecting us. The Federal Appeals Court has upheld a ruling that halted the U.S. President's executive order to create a federal list of eligible voters and limit delivery of mail ballots to only those people on the list. The ruling over the weekend rejected the Trump administration's effort to move forward with the mail-in voting restrictions in 23 U.S. states that sued ahead of November's midterm elections. Also, the Trump administration has acknowledged in court documents that it canceled $7.6 billion in grants for hundreds of clean energy projects based solely on the political identity of the grant recipient state. In this case, 16 states that voted for Democrat Kamala Harris in the presidential election back in 2024. Toronto police investigating a shooting that took place near the U.S. consulate early this morning. Officers in the area say they heard a gun discharge. They found evidence of it outside the consulate building early on, just before 5 a.m. In March, the U.S. consulate was also targeted in a shooting where two suspects allegedly fired multiple shots at the building before getting away in a stolen vehicle. In this latest shooting, police say it was a white sedan that was spotted fleeing the area. The CEO of credit counseling agency Money Mentor says real numbers from bank statements can help you find a solution for your debt. Stacey Yanak-Olnick says she's advising people juggling multiple maxed-out credit cards to take a few deep breaths, ground yourself, and then start the real work to find out who is owed what and when. The manager of education and financial coaching at Credit Canada says when you're facing a mountain of credit card debt, one of the priorities needs to be stopping new charges from being added, which quickly builds the bare minimum budget. Becky Western McFadden says once basic needs are accounted for, the process of digging out of debt begins. Never easy, but well worth it in the end. And you may notice a lot of Canadian geese around town. There's lots in Esquimalt Lagoon now, and they're all feisty. They're not flying right now. The Royal Saskatchewan Museum says the birds have started their molting season, which makes them lose their feathers, prevents them from flying, and they'll have those feathers back in time for migration. But in the meantime, the normally spicy bird can be even more aggressive this time of year, so keep watch. That's your news to 8:19.
Well, Lisa, thanks
Yes.
again to Linda for winning our meat draw.
She's excited.
Our
She's
first
on her
one.
way
Yeah.
to get a lotto ticket.
Yeah. Yeah. So Linda was our winner. She was the first person to
Yay.
give us the correct number. We're doing it again tomorrow. Don't miss it. But right now, we got some news to catch up on. On Friday, I was still away on my trip, but I understand that on Friday, the BC Nurses Union called off the province-wide strike after saying it accepted mediator recommendations. So the details that we know so far coming up next as we talk to Adrienne Gear, the president of the BC Nurses Union. So that's up next.
Thinking about home renos, but the cost is too high? Think again. Explore affordable DIY options from ProTech Exterior Products at beahomepro.com.
CFAX activity, traffic, and weather. Well, major routes in Victoria looking pretty good, except for just that residual slowdown. Still, after an earlier fender bender on the Island Highway, just as you head in towards Victoria and you take the turn lane to keep going on the Island Highway through View Royal. Does that make sense? Kind of by Adams Storage. Make sense? Yeah, fender bender there. Still a little bit of a slowdown. Otherwise, we're looking good. No sailing rates at BC Ferry. Still some fog out there. It's a little foggy this morning for parts of Greater Victoria. We've had a bit of drizzle here and there as well. We expect that to start to clear up by later this afternoon. Still cloudy. Highs of about 20, maybe cooler by the water, but the drizzle and the fog will eventually break. And then we'll get it again tomorrow. We'll start the day tomorrow the same way. It's kind of looking like the same forecast. Wednesday, cloudy and some sunshine by the end of the week.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
Well, the news on Friday was that there was some movement in the BC Nurses Union strike as they called off the strike. They said they have accepted a mediator recommendation. What's the latest as of this morning? Adrian Gear is the BC Nurses Union president, joining us on the line. Hello, how are you?
Hi, good morning.
Great to get you here. So that was the news on Friday. Has anything changed since Friday? Where are things at right now?
Not really. We've spent the weekend making sure that members have information, speaking with our stewards and those folks that really were frontline supporting the job action. We're still waiting on some details, confirmation of when the arbitration will take place. We know it will be in the fall, but looking forward to narrowing down dates. So, yeah, not a lot has transpired over the weekend other than, nurses, return to work. We're not, obviously the job action has ended. And that's really hard because, essentially nothing has changed for nurses at this point. So I really just want to acknowledge that in terms of, the violence, the chronic nursing shortage, the increased burden of non-nursing duties. Unfortunately, while we've exposed that for what it is, nurses continue to do their very best to provide patient care under those circumstances.
Adrian, if there's a silver lining coming out of what's happened so far, I have talked to some of the nurses that were actively picketing at different locations for the limited job action you did. They said they had overwhelming support from the public that turned out. Did you find that?
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah,
100%. I mean, I received honestly less than 5 emails, maybe 3 emails, from members of the public that were angry. And I understand. I mean, they were impacted by the job action, but overall, there was a lot of support. And I think people who have had experiences with healthcare, they see it. Try staying in an emergency room. You see the pressure that nurses are under, trying to provide care for people when there's simply not enough of them. There's not enough space. There's not enough physicians to, sort of initiate some of the care that's required. So I think the general public, they see the systemic issues that need to be addressed for sure.
So you weren't feeling very positive going into mediation, but you let it go through due process. How are you feeling coming out of it? Because you're saying not much has changed. So where are we at?
Well, I think what's changed is that, we have exposed the systemic failures. They have been acknowledged. We do have an opportunity with 2 reviews that will go forward. And honestly, like the nurses union, and I don't think the public is going to let this go. And so I think, as more details become available, I hope that my members will feel validated and can trust that there is a path forward. Certainly people have been let down before. We've certainly had promises in the past. I think what's different is that the mediators, who I believe really heard and understand the issues, remain seized. So that creates a lot of accountability. And then the other issue, which was significant for my members, is compensation. And, interest binding arbitration is the only avenue we have to have our compensation considered outside of the government imposed mandate. And so that was also really important for nurses. Obviously these systemic issues that are impacting not only our working conditions, but the conditions of care. And nurses work incredibly short staffed. There's not enough of us, and nurses want to be acknowledged for that. And that was really the only path forward to have our compensation considered.
Ticking off all the boxes. There's a new study about burnout in Canada's emergency rooms that's just come out, with 1 in 10 ER doctors leaving the profession because of an underfunded healthcare system. So it's systemic across Canada, but public support is one thing, but I mean, when you're saying about everything that they're facing, are we going to have more and more nurses just saying, basically, I'm throwing it in, I'm done?
Well, I hope not. I certainly can understand. Well, first, I want to say I think nurses right now, many members that I've spoken to, feel incredibly validated. So I think that's important. What we need now is for government and the employer to come out and fully acknowledge what we've learned, what we've exposed. I think that would go a long way. And then nurses need to see action. They need to see these reviews taking place. They need to be transparent. They need to be timely, and they need to be thorough. And so, I hope for those nurses that are considering leaving that they hold on a little longer. And I know that's a lot to ask, but I do think that is the path forward. And if we can, have this interest arbitration, ideally if nurses, are acknowledged some way through, an increase in their compensation, that might go a long way as well. But at the end of the day, we all need to be incredibly invested in our public healthcare system. We need to demand more of decision makers because we want it to be accessible and safe for everyone. And so, if nurses, I truly hope those that are kind of, should I stay or should I go, that they choose to stay a little longer. I'm hopeful that we'll make change, but change doesn't happen overnight. But yeah. I do recognize for some it's hard.
We're talking to Adrienne Gear, BC Nurses Union President. It's news time, but I just want to ask one more question. I'll just be a little late for the news here. Just to sort of wrap it up, where do we go from here? So you've got this, the mediator solution that happened on Friday. We are now bringing down the strike. What next has to happen, though, and where does it take us from here?
Well, really, I think it's the details. People need to see the details in terms of, when the reviews, when the arbitration will take place. In the meantime, it does mean that nurses are going back to work, and they have the same care conditions. Things can change if government and the employer choose to do the right thing. And so the BCNU is not going to accept any delays or excuses or half measures. We will continue to hold government and the health employers accountable for delivering the change that has been committed to. So I think that's what's next. And for my members, the fight looks different now, but we're still in it. And I hope for the public that they can continue to support nurses and our healthcare system and hold decision makers accountable.
More to come. All right. Well, we'll talk again soon, I'm sure. But thank you for this.
Thank you. Take care.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Celebrate our coast at Cadbro Bay Festival, Sunday, August 9th from 11 to 3 p.m. Victoria Symphony presents Symphony in the Summer Festival, July 10th through August 9th. Details at victoriasymphony.ca. Have an event you want featured on CFAX 1070? Text us at 71010 to be featured. Get more event info at cfax1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. A little foggy still for parts of Victoria. We have some drizzle here and there, eventually clearing up, and we'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. But right now, the news begins. Here it is, 8:30 on Monday, July 27th. Let's get to the news with Lisa Best.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning. New data shows burnout impacting Canada's emergency rooms heavily. 1 in 10 ER doctors asked say they will be exiting the profession. A new study published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal today points to an underfunded healthcare system leading to high patient volumes and lack of clinical support. Toronto ER Dr. Raghu Venapol weighed in on the study.
When you have an emergency, you want to be attended to in a timely, professional, dignified, and compassionate manner. And we want our emergency room staff to be in a good situation and not burned out and not caustic and not prevented from doing their job.
The study found 48% of ER doctors have reduced their clinical hours and 20% have taken time off simply due to burnout. A food festival in the heart of Seattle ended in tragedy late last night. Police say a shootout between 2 suspects killed 3 people and injured 4 others, including a small child.
A bullet landed into the tree that was right next to us.
Ava Hendricks was at the festival with her family when the gunfire erupted.
It was very scary, and like after the whole thing was over, and we're just waiting for the police to come, and we're just looking at each other like, how are we still alive? How did we make it through that?
One suspect has been taken into custody. Police say another suspect is still on the loose.
Police now searching for that suspect in Seattle. OpenAI chief executive Sam Altman is heading to the White House this week to look for approval for the company's most powerful model yet. This meeting happening on the heels of a high-profile safety incident.
The system, capable of solving an 80-year-old math problem, could also take on complex tasks for businesses and the government. But that same ability to act more independently is also raising safety concerns after OpenAI's system was able to hack into another AI platform called Hugging Face during a security test. Hugging Face's CEO calls the hack unprecedented.
This as a new security alliance, a cybersecurity alliance, is gaining traction in the tech world.
NVIDIA, SpaceX, Dell, and Microsoft are among the companies joining forces on the Open Secure AI Alliance. The goal, to create advanced cybersecurity tools to guard against attacks from artificial intelligence, like the one where 2 of OpenAI's models hacked into the website Hugging Face. The group says it wants these tools to be open source, meaning any developer can modify the source code of the tool to suit their own specific use case. OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google have not signed on to the alliance. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
And if you're making treks to Hawaii for your summer vacation, the tropical weather in the Pacific is affecting surf and some in that area.
Rough seas, rip currents will be a big concern. Why is this all happening? We're looking at hurricanes. Now, there's a major hurricane, Hurricane Genevieve, a powerful Cat 5. However, it will not make landfall. Fausto will swipe just to the north of the Hawaiian Islands, bringing with it a tropical storm. Winds about 70 to 40 miles per hour by the time it gets to the north. And then we're looking at the potential for those rip currents and dangerous seas.
And that is your news to 8:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question we're asking, since summer always creates a dearth in this department, do you donate blood? Because they sure could use your help right now. But 88% are saying no, they don't roll up their sleeve. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best news time is 8:37.
Thank you, Lisa. Let's take a quick look at the weather forecast. Yes, still foggy out there for parts of Greater Victoria. Still a little drizzle here and there, but we're expecting that to clear as the day goes on. Right now at the Victoria International Airport, it's 14 degrees. CFAX 1070 Sports. Let's start with the Victoria Shamrocks. We're getting close to the playoffs. Just one more regular season game coming up on Thursday for the Shamrocks, although they were in action last night. Let me tell you the score. It was a big win for the Shamrocks. 15-3 was the score over the Burnaby Lakers in that last regular season game Thursday against New Westminster. Guess what? We're going to talk to the Shamrocks coming up in a little over 10 minutes' time about the end of the season and where they sit and how they're looking as we head towards the postseason in the WLA. But I'll tell you about soccer right now. Pacific FC, they got so close, fell 3-2 right at the end to Atletico Ottawa on the road. 2 second-half goals for Pacific FC. They had a goal from Alejandro Diaz, from Marco Bustos, but Ottawa won it with a 90-plus 6-minute stoppage time game winner. Victoria Harbour Cats also in action yesterday. They lost 7-3 to the Kamloops North Paws. In the majors, Max Scherzer will celebrate his 42nd birthday by returning to the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays. First time since June 10th. He had a thumb injury. He's back in action. It's his birthday. And this is as the Blue Jays open up a series against the Washington Nationals. The Jays lost 2 of 3 weekend games against the Boston Red Sox. Seattle Mariners won 6-4 against the Texas Rangers. Mariners have one final game left in their current series, playing Texas Rangers today. And I just want to talk about this because, by the way, it's great to be back. I was away over the last couple of weeks. I did this big hike in Europe. Went around this thing called Mont Blanc. It was a great time with my wife. But one of the things we did at the end of it is we went and saw a stage of the Tour de France, which wrapped up yesterday. If you've been following, we can confirm that Tadej Pogačar, the Slovenian, is the big winner of the Tour de France, the overall cycling winner. He has now got his 5th Tour de France title after yesterday's result. That is your sports to 8:39. .40 now on this Monday morning. What's going on the roads? It looks like we cleared up that fender bender Island Highway just as you turn into View Royal, where the road kind of splits near Adams Storage. That was causing a bit of a slowdown through a lot of the morning, but it's clear now. If you see any continued slowdowns there or if there's anything else going on, text me at 71010. But yeah, everything else is looking great. Pat Bay Highway's clear. Malahat's clear. The West Shore commute is now easing up quite a bit as well. Got that fog. Visibility might be limited in some places with the fog still there. We will see that clear up as the day goes on. And our weather forecast, also a bit of drizzle still here and there for parts of Greater Victoria. That'll clear up too. It's going to stay mostly overcast though once we get through the cloud and rain. It'll be a high of about 20 degrees, 17 by the water. Tonight, clouds and showers and maybe some fog again. And then tomorrow looks very much like today, starting with that fog and the chance of drizzle, but then drying up as the day goes on. Wednesday, cloudy. Thursday, Friday, sunny. Temperatures into the low 20s. Saturday and Sunday, mix-ups in a cloud in the forecast. And right now, it's about 14 degrees. On the markets, S&P TSX up 43 points to 35,412. The Dow in New York is up 182. over the close on Friday to 52,129. NASDAQ is down 70 to 24,904. We've been following that barrel of oil, now down over $6 a barrel compared to Friday to $83.13. So it's a big drop on world oil prices. What will that mean going forward? We talked to Patrick DeHaan from GasBuddy.com a little bit earlier, and he was talking about how there's still a lot of uncertainty. It's still not quite sure, but if those world oil prices continue to drop as they have been today, maybe we'll see that trickle down to the pumps before too long. Right now, Canadian dollar at 70.9 cents US.
Let's get started. Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
We did our first meat draw for Glenwood Meats. Oh, man, so many people participating in this. It was at 7:10:10. So here's what we're doing, just in case you missed it. 8:10 around about 8:10 every morning this week. We're doing a meat draw, and you have to. We're gonna draw a number between 1 and 100 secretly here at the station, and you will text us a number between 1 and 100, and the first person to get the number right gets a call, and we give you $100 to Glenwood Meats. And if by the time contest go time happens, if we haven't had the exact number, we'll just pick the first closest number to the real number. Yeah, and then we'll call you, and if you pick up the phone, you'll get $100, just like Linda did earlier.
The sheer amount of entries we got, someone's going to get the number right.
Oh, man, yeah. So many text messages. It was great. We're doing this every day this week from Glenwood Meats, just in time for the BC Day long weekend coming up. And one of the things Linda asked me, though, when I was talking to her off air to get her the prize, she was wondering, hey, how was your time off? Because, we were talking about my trip earlier in the show, but lots of folks are just waking up and didn't hear. So just real quick, I thought I'd say it again. It's great to be back. Thank you to Lisa and to Steve for being here. Thank you so much.
He's sleeping in today.
Steve is going to have a big old sleep today, which is great. But thank you so much for being here for me. Where was I? I spent 2 weeks celebrating my 20th wedding anniversary. My wife and I went to Europe, and we did a hike around this thing called Mont Blanc, which is a big famous mountain in the Alps. The hike takes you around France, Italy, and Switzerland. You cross all three countries. You actually cross the borders up on mountain summits.
But it's not like the borders we have here, right?
You just walk across them. I guess that's the EU, right? It's all.
Isn't there a little plaque or something?
There'd often be a stone of some kind, or a pile of stones with a little indication that you were crossing a border. But
that's how it used to be getting into the U.S. Times have changed.
Yeah, a little different for us here, but that was a really cool experience. It was a bit of a physical challenge, but a really uplifting thing to do, and a neat to do a challenge and come out the other end of it and think of the accomplishment you just did.
Yeah, but you got good food and drink as well, right?
Oh man, being Europe, you're hiking at 2,500 meters above sea level in the middle of nowhere, but there's still a bar somehow. Literally, I'm not joking. There'd be these little huts where you could buy a beer and some pie.
Well, Switzerland makes great beer.
Oh, man.
So that alone. And in Italy, did you drink some good wine? Good pasta?
I'm going to be controversial here. Oh. Out of the three countries, Italy did have the best food and wine. I'm just going to say. The others were great. No complaints, but
they know the way around a kitchen.
Italy was something, I tell you. Anyways, that's where I've been for the last 2 weeks. It was a great trip. If you follow me on Instagram, I put some stuff up there, some videos and things if you want to check it out see what it looked like. Right now, though, it's time for the headlines at 8:45. Here's Lisa.
BC Wildfire Services personnel from Yukon, Alberta, Mexico all set to arrive over the coming days to aid in the fight of more than 140 active blazes burning throughout BC. That includes a massive Brunswick complex of fires in the Fraser Canyon, which together span more than 355 square kilometers. The community Boston Bar and surrounding area remains subject to evacuation orders. Some of those people will be evacuated possibly as early as this morning. The fire is prompting officials to shut off the local water supply last week to help preserve that water for the firefight. But the Fraser Valley Regional District now says there's an investigation under vandalism to the system. A valve was reopened incorrectly, and the potential to cause serious damage before staff was able to respond. So we'll find out more about that, unpacking what happened. The Marine Animal Society of Nova Scotia confirming multiple sightings of a lone killer whale near the Cancel Causeway, saying such sightings, especially in that area, are very rare. The Marine Conservation Group says a solitary orca has been spotted in the last few days and appears to be in good shape. That causeway links mainland Nova Scotia with Cape Breton. Not a normal sighting in that area for them. And motorists starting to cross the Gordie Howe International Bridge between Windsor and Detroit today, but the opening comes after months of political controversy swirls around the span. Canada held a ceremony last week to mark the opening, the U.S. uninvited to that celebration, based on the new threat of new tariffs on Canadian goods, some of that linked to the wildfire smoke that we're apparently sending across the border on purpose. Over 70% of Canada's exports do go to the U.S., so we're hoping to get that bridge open. That's your news to 8:47.
Victoria Shamrocks are almost done the regular season. They're top of the league heading into the postseason, so things are looking good. And if you win the WLA, of course, you move on to the Man Cup, which will be coming. So there's lots coming up, possibly, for the Victoria Shamrocks. So we wanted to take some time to check in with them. They're joining us in just a moment. We're going to talk to Chris Welsh, general manager of the team. That's right after traffic and weather. So if you see any problems, traffic-wise, text us at 71010. We'll get that information out there.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Victoria Symphony presents Symphony in the Summer Festival, July 10th through August 9th. Details at victoriasymphony.ca. Catch all the excitement of summer baseball with the Victoria Harbour Cats. More info at harbourcats.com. Have an event you want featured on CFAX 1070? Text us at 71010 to be featured. Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX 1070 Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Until August 5th, get 600 Scene Plus points when you buy any participating cheeses and meats to build your own summer snacking bundle. That's at Thrifty Foods. Okay, on the roads, we're looking pretty good right now. All the earlier problems of the morning seem to have cleared up, and the roads are moving very well. The BC Ferries looking good as well. No sailing waits there. The 9 o'clock, by the way, from Swartz Bay to Swanson, about 91% full. It's pretty full, but hey, it's leaving in a few minutes. I think everybody's going to get on it. For the weather forecast, chance of showers this morning. We still got a bit of that fog out there. It's really kind of clung to things. And all night I was hearing the foghorns, and it's still sort of that situation. But eventually we're going to expect that to clear up, and we'll get into a mostly cloudy day with a high of 20, a little cooler by the water. Tonight, the fog and the chance of rain coming back. We'll see that through the morning tomorrow, and then same thing. We'll kind of clear a little bit into the afternoon. Still cloudy on Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is when we get the sunshine back. Maybe a few clouds still, but getting sunnier for that back half of the week with temperatures into the low 20s. And right now for the temperatures, in Oak Bay, you have 14 degrees. In Langford, it's 15.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, as we would talk about in sports, a big win for the Victoria Shamrocks. 15-3 the score at the Q Center just yesterday over the Burnaby Lakers. They got another game on Thursday. Then it's playoff time. So we got to check in on the state of the Shamrocks. Chris Welsh, general manager, is joining us on the line. Sir, how you doing?
Good morning, Ryan. Doing well, thank you.
Well, I mean, the season just continues to be a big thing. 15-3 win yesterday. That's huge. We have, I think you've only lost 2 games all season as we get ready to get into this playoff period. What a season you're having.
Yeah, we've kind of put ourselves in an ideal spot. It's exactly where we want to be. First place, home floor advantage through the playoffs coming up here, and I think we're all pleased and maybe a little bit surprised. It was a year of big changes for us with quite a few changes to our coaching staff and to our training staff and to playing personnel. More changes maybe than we thought, but lots of change, and yet it's gelled very quickly. And under the leadership of our new head coach Bruce Alexander, and our new leadership group under the leadership of players like Marshall King and Zach Manns, it's been a great season. You look at the top of the leaderboard in all the categories, and they're all Shamrock. Zach Manns is leading our league in scoring, and Chris Ariglieri is leading in all the key goaltending categories, and we're atop the board. So it's a good spot, but as you say, we're looking ahead to playoffs, and kind of all that goes out the window, and then it's your survival is on the line, and every game has an increased sense of urgency and importance as you go.
Yeah, and I guess even though we got one game left, right? Thursday's last regular season game, but you've got the top of the league. There's no knocking you off there, and I guess you know enough to know what the first playoff matchup's going to be, and that's going to be the Victoria Shamrocks versus Nanaimo, right?
Yeah, we get to play our island rivals, which, again, another ideal situation for us, staying close to home and having that island rivalry in the playoffs. I think it's going to be really exciting. It's only, I think, the second time in recent history that we've had that matchup, and it's always something special when you get to go head-to-head with your island rivals like this.
So the first game's Tuesday, and it's going to be at home for you, right, at the Q Center?
Tuesday at home, 6:30 start, and then again Friday at home, 6:30 start, and in between we'll play up in Nanaimo on Thursday night at 7.
Tickets on sale?
Tickets are on sale, absolutely, and we encourage all our fans to come out and support us and cheer us on. We need you as much in the playoffs, if not more, than we did in the regular season. We've had outstanding fan support again this year, and we're really hoping that carries through for playoffs.
And just working through how it all goes. So that's going to be the matchup for you. We got the Shamrocks in Nanaimo. Then the other one is Maple Ridge Burrards and the Coquitlam Adnacks. They're going to be doing the other series?
That's right, and it's kind of like what everybody predicted at the start. Pundits were kind of saying, well, it looks like a 3-horse race between the Shamrocks, the Burrards, and the Adnacks, and then there will be a couple of teams like the Salmon Bellies and the Timbermen vying for that final spot, and sure enough, Nanaimo got it. Yeah, and that other series, it's going to be a real battle. Those are two pretty evenly matched teams. Coquitlam maybe has an advantage in goal, and, maybe, Maple Ridge has an edge in offense, maybe, if they have everybody. But yeah, it's going to be a real interesting series to keep an eye on, because two really evenly matched teams, different styles quite altogether, but two real competitive groups that we'll see how they do.
So the winner of your matchup will go to play the winner of that matchup, and then the winner of that, that's Man Cup time, isn't it?
Yeah, and the winner of that gets to get on the airplane and go back east and take on likely the Six Nations Chiefs, who kind of are building some pretty big numbers in terms of championships and other things back there. And we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but whoever goes has a big job to do there for sure. Tough battle, but it's going to be a tough battle earning that right, and best of 5 round 1 series straight ahead, and then, like you said, the two winners of those series will play off in a best of 7 for the right to go back east and play for the Canadian Championship.
Wow. And what's it like for the team and the mindset? Because you've had a dominant season. Like we said, you've only lost 2 games. You're top of the WLA standings. This is the Victoria Shamrocks heading into the playoffs. But how does the mindset change, and how do things change as you shift from this regular season mode to next week being in the playoffs?
Well, I think it gets a little more, intense as you go. During the season, you get some little breaks along the way where you can kind of rest and heal up. But in the playoffs, the games come at you fast and furious, and you have to be ready. You're playing, every other day, and it's kind of all hands on deck. And I think our group has, had a lot of fun this year. We've had some injuries, but nothing, terribly serious, fortunately. And so there's been a really positive feeling around the group. Bruce sets a highly positive tone, and in the dressing room and on the bench, and there's just a really good vibe. You can tell the guys are enjoying playing and playing with each other, and it's really good. But it's all business in the playoffs, and the games are coming fast, and they're all there's a lot on the line, and you're aware that you got to be at your best, and so the focus and the concentration is there, and our guys are really determined to take this to the distance.
Well, Chris Welsh is the general manager of the Victoria Shamrocks. They got one more regular season game this Thursday. Then it is time for the playoffs next week, starting Tuesday. Tickets on sale. Hey, thanks so much for joining us and talking to us about it. Let's talk more as the playoffs hit, okay?
Absolutely, Ryan. Thanks for having me on.
That's it for us today. Thanks so much for listening. It's great to be back from my vacation, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.